Welcome to the Modern Day Meditations Podcast. This is episode 1 of hopefully many to come. The whole idea behind the podcast is to bring on guests to discuss topics and ideas that I myself would like to learn more about. And hopefully as a result of some of these conversations, we are all able to live happier and healthier lives. More than anything, this will be a little self-education for myself in podcast format on various topics of my own interest. If there's any topics you'd like me to explore or guests that you'd like me to have on that would be interesting to myself and others, please drop the suggestions in the comments or reach out to me on social media. Without further ado, here's my discussion with my first guest ever, nutritionist and personal trainer to the stars of Brampton, Rounit Narula. Enjoy. Okay, sick. All right.
We're starting?
All right, let's start it.
Okay.
All right, what up everybody? Welcome to Modern Meditations. I'm Manmeet Rai, and today I have
Rounit.
Rounit with me.
Yeah.
The main purpose of this podcast is to get people on that have something interesting to say and interesting to add and value to add to the world, and pick their brains for an hour or two, and or we'll see how long this goes, and try to get little tidbits of information that can help other people as well. So Rounit, start us off and give us a little intro of you and stuff, we'll kick it off from there.
First, thanks for having me. It's the first episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
Hopefully I have some interesting stuff to say.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
We'll find out. All I talk about. So basically, a little intro about me. I'm a personal trainer, online coach. I used to be an accountant before. I did my CPA.
Okay.
I did the whole process, went to university.
Yeah.
Did everything. And then peak COVID 2020, I was like, yo, I'm not really having too much fun.
Yeah.
And then I saw like other managers and stuff at the job not really having too much fun. And I wasn't really seeing any light at the end of the tunnel. Like they would work from whatever, 8 to 5. They would go home, feed the kid, and then pop back online at 8 p.m., right?
Oh,
especially in accounting, like there's certain times like month ends, quarter ends, year ends.
It's busy.
It's just fried busy, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't really see myself doing that for the next 70 years, right?
Yeah.
So being an accountant, luckily I had good organizational skills, so I planned 2-3 years in advance.
Yeah.
In 2020, I was like, yo, if I don't make shit for the next 3 years, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
I used to live in Guelph, and then I moved back, and I saved on rent, and then I was like, yo, let's do this coaching thing. But I've been myself like training for the last like 10 years.
Yeah.
I did, like a physique show back in 2017.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah. So like I've been training myself. I always like, was like, I love the gym.
Yeah.
It'd be sick to like do something work related in the gym. But like being like the
something in your passion, right?
Yeah, and like
your work becomes like, your passion becomes your job, kind of.
100%. And like being in like a brown culture, you're like, can I really work at the gym? As like, it's not really that prestigious or like perceived as prestigious, right?
Like compared to accounting, definitely.
Compared to accounting, right? Or CPA. Like my dad still tells people first right now, it's like
he's a CPA.
He used to CPA, but now he's a coach.
Yeah.
But now he's come around more since he's like gone through his own weight loss journey since I moved back home.
He sees you taking off and growing and stuff too, right?
Exactly, right? So yeah, that's a little bit about me. I think it was all over the place, but basically I've been training for a minute, and now I help people get jacked and shit.
Yeah, trying to get jacked.
Yeah. And then that's about it for me.
Sick. I didn't even know that you did your CPA and that you were in accounting and shit. I thought you got right into like training and stuff, and got into that right after high school. So that's crazy. Yeah,
no man, because like always in the back home, like in 2017 I actually went and got my personal training certification from CanFit, like a Good Life.
Okay.
It's like a weekend 2-week course.
Okay.
It's really simple, right? Yeah. And I was like, okay, maybe like while I'm like studying for accounting and when I'm pursuing it, I'll maybe work part-time as like a personal trainer.
Yeah.
But then that didn't really pan out, because if you're a trainer, like it actually takes a lot of energy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's at times not as fun as people perceive it to be. Oh shit, bro, you're just working at a gym.
Yeah.
You're living the life. But like it's constant talking to people for an hour, sometimes 6 hours in a row, right? And like everyone like most trainers, like they can do a good job if they can just talk.
Yeah.
They don't even have to be jacked.
Yeah.
Right? Because people just want to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, I'm talking to somebody, but at the same time, I'm doing something for my health.
And
so
you're
it's like
learning a little bit, about how to work out and stuff. Yeah.
So like I needed way more like energy for it, and I was just like, oh, it's not gonna work like that. Plus, as a trainer, you gotta have some credibility to have clients. Yeah. Right. So I was like, I can't just do it. Hey guys, I'm personal training now. While I'm doing accounting, so it already shows that I'm not really full into it. Yeah. So it didn't work out until like 2019, end of 2019. Okay. That's when like I got my CPA and like was working in accounting full time. Yeah. I started posting stuff online, right? I was flexing. Yeah. I don't know if you remember like with a page called like RG Muscle at one point.
Yeah, earlier on.
That was 2018. That's when we started at the Good Life.
Okay.
One of my boys that I was went to high school with.
Okay.
And he went to Western. So after high school, we didn't see each other for 5 years. Okay. And then after 5 years, we met again at the gym. Yeah. And he was like, yo, bro, you're pretty jacked. Yeah. He's like, yo, you're jacked too.
Yeah. That's how most friendships develop in the
gym.
Yeah.
And then we just like started recording videos, posting online.
Yeah.
And then like, I was like, yo, this is cool. People started giving good feedback and stuff. Yeah. And then he moved for med school. Okay. To Kansas City. Nice. And I was still in accounting. Uh-huh. And then I was like, yo, like, people are asking. It's like, hey, bro, can you, like, write me a diet or, like, a workout
plan, yeah.
I was like,
they see you making gains, right? And they want to do the same thing. Like, that's similar, like, what happened to me, too. Like, I dropped, after high school, I gained back a bunch of weight, too. Like, I went to India for a year to, like do some, like, training and stuff, IT-related stuff, working for my uncle's business. And while I was there, ate a bunch. I was living on my own, eating bare street food and stuff. Yeah. Gained bare weight.
Tastes so good.
Oh, so good. Yeah, I blew up to like 230 pounds at one point, and so I was still working out kind of, but like eating like shit. So when I came back, I just dropped a bunch of weight. Mainly diet and exercise, and that's the first thing that happens. People hit you up like, yo, like,
what happened?
What did you do? How'd you do it? Like maybe write me a workout plan or a diet plan or whatever. But that's it. Like, I didn't even know. Yeah, your start was in accounting, and then you moved into fitness, which is like obviously your main passion.
100%.
But yeah, I should have called it that. You have some sort of accounting background because my dad does too. Yeah. And like you seem similar, like organized and stuff, and you have your plan set out in front of you, and yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
100%.
That probably helped a lot in terms of like just getting organized and like getting into content creation and getting into fitness and developing plans and stuff and your own plan and stuff like that.
100%.
That's cool to hear that you made that transition.
Yeah. It was a little tough at first. Like I kind of had it planned in like 2018 when I started my accounting like full-time job. So I did 16 months of co-op in accounting at the same company. Yeah. And then like my last year university, they were like, yo, bro, like please don't apply anywhere. Just reach back. Wherever we want you back. And so like last year university, people are like applying to 80 jobs, 90 jobs. Yeah. Everyone's tripping out. Yeah. I was kind of chilling, right? I was just working out and I was like, I have this job lined up. Wicked. But I started it and right away I was like, oh shit, man, something doesn't feel right. I've been doing this for like 50 years. Yeah. It was me, but the sickest part happened here, right? I started listening to podcasts at work because all I was doing computer work and like paperwork, 8 hours of podcast. Even though I wouldn't like take in some information, subconsciously you take in stuff, right? Yeah. So Jay Shetty was the first one I started listening to, and like, bro, like there were so many initially. It was like almost like a sign. There were so many podcasts like, hey, how can you turn your passion into your normal thing? Yeah. Literally, title the podcast was that, right? And like I really listened to that one. I think like 37 times or some shit like that. Yeah. The same one constantly. And like every time I would take another thing. And I planned in advance for like 2 years because the work paid for my CPA. Okay. And if I quit earlier, I would have to pay it back.
Oh, okay.
And the funniest thing is, this is a sick lesson I had afterwards. After I quit 2 years later, I actually didn't get my CPA by this point because I didn't like pass. I passed the exam, but I didn't get that work hours technically. Oh, okay. Right? But I was like, yo, F, I'm done. I'm going to leave anyways. And they didn't even ask for the money back. Oh, okay. So technically I could have left 2 years earlier.
You could have left even earlier, yeah.
Right? Yeah. But that 2 years was like I planned a little ahead and like I saved up money. Yeah. Things like that. Yeah. And like I always been routined. So like even when I left, bro, like I left October 2020 and October 2020 to like almost full of 2021. I don't have any clients, right? Like I was just like, I'm a trainer now. I'm flexing on the gram. It's like, wow, like initially people don't perceive you as a coach. Yeah. If you're just like, I I was writing some deep captions I'm learning from podcasts.
Yeah.
But like I was writing stuff not really through experience, more like what other people were saying.
Yeah.
Right? And
just regurgitating the same thing.
Yeah. And like I don't know, it's a weird way, like someone could read it and it sounds right, but they can feel the energy of words.
Yeah.
Like, yo, this is not actually from him.
It's not authentic.
Right?
Yeah,
So I don't know, some disconnect obviously was there, but I was just like in that routine.
Mm-hmm.
Like the 8 hours I was supposed to be doing accounting, I was just like, okay, yo, I'm gonna go for 1 hour walk right here with a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm gonna read for this hour.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna meal prep for this hour. So I just filled the slots, and I'm gonna come up with 10 content ideas this hour.
Yeah.
Then I'll record stuff this hour. Like I just made it into, pulled the work out of my ass.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just gonna keep this routine going.
Yeah.
And eventually it started translating into like, okay, that walk hour is not actually a client.
Yeah.
Right? Now that drafting post time is actually another client.
Mm-hmm.
Or like a consultation. And I was like, yo, it's crazy. Just say having a routine.
Yeah.
And then it just like starts translating into
you can shift over to like that becoming slowly more and more
actual
your full-time thing, your 100%. Your business and stuff. Yeah, a lot of people, I feel like they're working full-time jobs and, you know, they have this thing in the back of their mind that they want to do. A lot of times they think that, oh, I need to like completely quit my daytime job in order to focus here and like do 100%. This thing. When it's like, not really. Like there's hours in our day that we fill with other bullshit, you know what I mean? Like Netflix, you know, partying or whatever it may be for whatever person. But if you truly like, you're passionate about that thing, you know what I mean? Like right now we're sitting here recording this podcast.
Yeah.
I could be, you know, like doing anything else with my time, but I really want this to, you know, one day, it doesn't need to make me millions of dollars or some shit, but if it could replace my normal income and I can sit here and talk to interesting people and learn interesting things and like, you know, help people in some way through these conversations, like that will be a dream come true, you know what I mean?
It's amazing, right?
It doesn't require you to, you know, drop everything else and do these things. It just requires you to fill your excess time with more productive things that like align with your passion than like, you know, other, you know, distractions or bullshit, whatever it may be. But yo, that's sick. I'm glad to hear about this journey, you know. Other people, you know, I feel like the last couple of years because of COVID and stuff, you don't get to talk to people as much, and you know, just hearing that there's other people with similar mindset, similar kind of journey that they're on is inspiring, man. That's pretty sick. The funny part is you say that we don't talk much, like especially as guys in general, right? We don't talk much, but if you start talking to people, you realize everyone's kind of thinking the same shit. Everyone's thinking the same thing.
Everyone's like, yo, I wish like I could do this.
Yeah.
The best part is you can do it, like you just said. Like you just gotta audit your time a little bit, right? Like,
exactly.
Like you just mentioned before the podcast, not call. Mm-hmm. You had those deep work sessions, 5 a.m. to 9. Mm-hmm. That's 4 hours, bro. 4 hours in like a whole week, like. Well, I don't even know I used to be an accountant, not anymore, but like 4 times 5 or whatever is like 20 hours, right? 20 hours of deep work, or you can build like a sick business out of that. And replace your actual income, like.
It's all about putting in the hours. Nothing's gonna happen overnight, right? Like, but if you do something, focus on like. My biggest problem was like there's all these things I'm interested in, I want to get into. We all have that, you know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm into this, I'm into that. But a lot of times you gotta pick 1 or 2 things
100%.
And then put in the hours. You know, there's a lot of authors and like podcasts that talk about it, that you need to put in your, what is it, like you know, 10,000 hours or something, and you can become a master at that thing, or whatever, or master that topic, or whatever it may be. And that's all you need to do. You just gotta put in your 10,000 hours, 100%. And you gotta put in your dues, and eventually it'll pay off. For sure, man. I resonate with that heavy. But yeah, you know, we already kind of got into it. My first kind of topic or question I wanted to ask you about was, you know, how did you get into, you know, your fitness journey? Okay. You know, I remember we didn't really we went to the same high school. You're 2 years younger than me, I think.
2 years. 95. 95?
Oh, 1 year. Okay.
1 year.
I'm 94. So I remember seeing you in the hallways and stuff, and you know, we didn't really interact much, but 100%. I definitely remember you, and you know. You're a Genni too, or like I hope you don't take that the wrong way.
No.
You know, you're Senga and stuff.
Senga. You recognize
so you know, obviously you're more recognizable and stuff too.
100%.
Which is a great thing. You know what I mean? Like I for our people, for Punjabi culture, like I love it. So like, but the biggest thing was seeing you, you know, a couple years after, you know, seeing your show pictures and stuff. I'm like, yo, this is the same guy. What the fuck? Like, this guy's Jack now. Like, this is crazy. Night and day difference.
100%. Thank you, man.
But yeah, so like, how did you get started in your fitness journey from, you know, who you were in high school and like before working out and stuff, and then where you are now.
Yeah, it's nothing like, I know, hopefully this is kind of interesting, but it's pretty similar to most guys, right? It's like, yo, like, I want to look attractive, I want to look good, so you can impress the kuriyan, impress the girls, right? Most of the time it's like that, and like that is one part of it. Like when you start looking good, you feel better, you have more confidence, you're able to talk to more people, more girls, that kind of stuff. But like my thing was, as a saying, and like I don't know, a lot of things may go through this, may not, but in high school it was like, oh shit, like my darty doesn't look too good, or like I'm like not too, I don't look too good, so I was like, yo, let's go to the gym, let's first start getting a little jacked. But I had no idea about like diet, stuff like that initially. But it was initially just insecurities, right? It's like, how can I improve? And then like down the line, even when I did that physique show, I was like, yo, I look pretty sick, yo, like I fucking ripped, right? I was like, yo, this is cool, like I finally look kind of jacked. But you still don't feel confident. You still like, if you're the same guy back then, like I was like, yo, I feel the same guy that was in high school. It's just my physical appearance changed, right? I was like, yo, there has to be something else here, man.
Internally, still the same.
Internally, still like fucking can't even make eye contact with girls and shit. Like yo, what do you like look away? I was like, yo, what is going on, right? And that's when I got more into like self development, like podcasts. 2019ish. That's when I started listening to podcasts. Okay. So think about it. I started the gym 2013. Okay. Yeah. Right. In 2017, I did this show. Yeah. Right. So the whole time, I was just like, basically working out, eating, right? And then after 27, I was like, yo, I look sick, but I still don't feel good confidence-wise.
So internally, you're still the same dude. Externally, bro, things have changed. Internally, you're still the same guy.
Yeah. And then that was the biggest thing. And like another blurb in there, I guess like maybe a lot of like Gyanis or whatever you want to call it, like go through this kind of phase where like either want to cut their hair or they want to cut their beards, right? So I went through a phase with my beard, right? My beard was like, bro, I used to gel it. I used to pin it down, I used to gel it.
I remember your beard has come through quite the transformation too. It wasn't like as full as it is now, and like lined up nicely and shit. So
before it was like normal, like like if you're sick, you don't obviously cut your hair, like true sick, whatever. You don't cut your hair, you don't cut whatever. Because it's natural, God given, right? So like, I was like, yo, this is a dilemma I was having because I had some sort of blind faith, right? I was like, your parents did it, dad does it, dad's brother does it, brother's son do it, so I gotta do it. There was always something conflicting. I was like, yo, man, it doesn't feel right. So in 2017, that same year I did the show, I trimmed my beard, right? That was a pretty funny scene. Like I had a Tamil roommate. And like I don't know if I can say it on this podcast, but yeah, I cut the beard in 2019. 2017. Okay. Right? And I was like, oh shit, okay, this is happening. And did it. And I showed up home, right? And dad was like, oh shit. Dad was like, Aki kita, bro. What the fuck, right?
Disappointing,
But then my mom was like, oh, so not like that. Right? So it was a funny scene. But then like 2 weeks, me and my dad, like, eye contact was a little iffy, like whatever. But then he came around, right? I did the show that year. And so again, that ties into the first point where like, okay, I changed my full physical appearance now. Like my beard looks different, body looks different, still insecure, still whatever. So yeah, that's where transition 2019 podcast kick in, and I'm like, yo, like a lot of people are going through these same insecurities, confidence, whatever. And then confidence is something where people think it's already there.
Like it's inborn or something.
Right? You're like with it, but I'm like, yo, most of these guys are like, yo, we're all insecure. It's just reps, right?
So it's just like the gym.
It's just like the gym. Yeah, bro. It's so cool that once you get to the gym, you can relate everything to the gym.
Everything relates back to the gym, bro.
It's just reps. So like discipline, confidence,
it's crazy that you said that. I'm gonna come back to that after that. Everything comes back to the gym. But yeah, continue.
No. So yeah, basically, I was like, okay, yo, let me put more reps, so mind reps, right? So more podcasts. I was like, fucking, like I told you in accounting, it was 8 hours of straight podcasts. And then on the drive home podcast, on the drive back podcast, Andy Frisella and Jay Shetty. Okay. And there was another, Lewis House, the School of Greatness.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like those three guys, fucking ham, right? And all of 2019 was podcasting. Then 2020, that's when I left accounting. And then mine was like, oh shit, yo, there's so much out there that you can actually think. And like once I started taking action, like posting stuff online, through the mental block that was kind of a little better. And it was like the mental block is always going to be there, no matter what. Always going to be there. We have to force yourself through it. Definitely. You can't rely on feelings, right? The whole life I lived feelings. After 2020, I was like, fuck feelings. Just keep doing it. And I started seeing things happen, right? It's like a domino effect.
Mm-hmm.
You post one thing, the guy's like, yo, bro, are you doing coaching?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yo, shit, bro, you read my mind, right?
Yeah.
Before that, I wanted people to ask me coaching,
Yeah.
but I wasn't posting anything.
Yeah. So how's
they
anyone
gonna
gonna
know?
know? Yeah.
Right?
You gotta sell yourself. Yeah.
Right? So I was just like, yo, and then it started working, and then, yeah, I think I answered your question, like how I got started.
Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
quite the journey. So like after, so yeah, you originally, shaved your beard and stuff and you cut it and stuff.
Yeah.
What made you like then now go back to that, and grow it out again and stuff?
Because I realized that wasn't the problem.
Yeah, that it was nothing external.
It was
right?
nothing with the beard.
Yeah.
It was all in my head,
It was
right?
all in your head, yeah.
And I was like, oh, like, yo, if, it doesn't matter how you look.
Yeah.
If you can truly confidently talk to somebody,
Yeah.
they'd be like, oh shit, this guy's a confident guy,
Yeah,
and they'll be interested in talking back.
Definitely.
Whether it's a guy, a girl, whatever, 2022, everyone
Mhm.
has, or 2023 now.
2023 is hard to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Only January.
Yeah. So like after that, it was just like, okay, yo, it's not even about that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another thing, like, when you look good, you feel good.
Yeah.
That also helps with confidence, right? Like,
Yeah.
I always tell people, like, when I get new clients and stuff, it's like, yo, I know you don't feel the best right now, but just start changing your physical stuff,
Yeah.
and it actually starts helping with the mental stuff.
Yeah, and like eventually, if you're getting into fitness of any kind, you have to change your habits, right?
Exactly.
And once you start changing your habits and you're adapting better and better habits,
Yeah.
how are you not going to feel better? How are you
Exactly.
not going to be less
It's
depressed?
impossible.
How are you not going to be less, in the dumps and stuff? Like,
It's impossible.
a lot of people these days, like, they're going through, I'm not trying to like knock any mental health
Yeah,
issues.
yeah.
We all have our own,
100%.
mental health issues that we go through and stuff, and sorts of depression and stuff, or like, just sadness and stuff. But a lot of the times it can just go back to, what are your habits? What time do you wake up? What time do you go to sleep? Do you get out there to get some sunlight, first thing in the morning, and go for a, I see your posts about getting your daily walk, and that shit's so important,
Yeah.
Andrew Huberman talks about it all the time, like,
Yeah.
before 10 a.m. you need to get outside for at least 20 minutes, 10 to 20 minutes to get that natural sunlight in your eyes to,
100%.
make the correct kind of mechanisms in your body happen so that, the right hormones and stuff are clicking through your day, and you will feel better. You'll feel less like, you're having the cortisol spike in your system at the right time.
Exactly.
If you're not having all that stuff,
Yeah.
you're gonna feel depressed, you're gonna feel sad, you're gonna feel sluggish
100%.
throughout your day and stuff like that. So a lot of the times these issues that
Yeah.
more and more people are facing these days than ever before, when we live in a time where life should be so much easier. We have so much shit that like
It's too
life
much
should
shit.
be too much shit
That's
almost.
what-
That might even be the problem. That is the problem.
Yeah.
So many distractions that we have, that we forget about these little easy things, that easy habits,
Yeah.
that if we were all just doing, we'd be a lot happier.
100%.
So,
the easy part, right? I think it's hard for people to understand, like, it's actually much easier than they think. Like, no way, bro. You're telling me just go for a 10-minute walk?
yeah.
Like, what's that gonna do? Like, I want to get a 6-pack.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, I want to do this. Like, but you can't even do the little things,
How are you gonna get a 6-pack, bro?
right?
Yeah.
So like, it's yeah. I think people can't get across. Even when people come clients, it's like, yo,
Yeah.
bro, like, you're just telling me to get steps in and like eat 2 broccoli pieces a day. Like,
Yeah.
how's this gonna get me to my end goal, right?
It's just about the accumulation of those small
compounding
improvements.
interest, man.
It's compounding interest.
Yeah,
And like,
bro.
I try to tell people, like, anybody that's trying to get into self-improvement, I'm like, don't try to make these massive,
100%.
commitments every day or
100%.
whatever. Make 1% or 0.5% improvements
Yeah.
every day. Like, wake up in the morning. What's the 1% thing that I can do to make myself 1% better today?
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
then that will grow on itself, because that 1% every day over 365 days
Yeah, bro.
is a massive difference.
100%.
And it's way easier than trying to do a big thing that, like, hey,
Yeah.
tomorrow I'm gonna only eat chicken and broccoli and protein
Yeah.
shakes all day and go
Yeah.
to the gym 7
Cold
days a
turkey
week.
switch, yeah.
The whole switch is
It's
way
too hard.
harder than
100%.
saying, okay, tomorrow instead of my 3 meals I may normally have, I'm gonna have 1 meal at least healthy,
Exactly.
and then the other 2 I'll do normal, and the next day I'll add exercise to that, or add a daily walk to that, or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
that's so much easier, and
know,
people just
man.
don't get that little concept.
Yeah. And sometimes we forget too, right? It's like sometimes like, I get looked at as like, okay, bro, you're so structured, you're so disciplined, you're so
Yeah.
rigid in your thing. How do you stay whatever disciplined like this, right?
Yeah.
But it's like sometimes I try doing too much too, and
Yeah.
then at the end of the day, I feel fried, right?
Yeah, and you
then-
gotta remind yourself.
And
right?
then I'm like, oh shit, man, chill. Why am I trying to do everything in one day, right?
Yeah.
I'm literally preaching the opposite. Do 1-2 things every single day.
Yeah.
And there's a sick concept, the Andy Frisella guy, the podcast, is this idea of power list.
Okay.
So you just put like 4 tasks on your power list, 4 to 5.
Yeah.
That you just do daily, and sometimes you can finish these tasks before 12 p.m. in your day. Right? Before 12 you're done, and then rest of the day you just fuck off.
Yeah.
Right? So like
as long as you cross those 4 things off.
Yeah, it's like, well, whatever. It's like
a
smoothie, a walk, sunlight, 10 pages of your book.
Yeah.
Right? Call your mom.
Yeah.
Whatever, right?
At least you did those things,
right?
And you're feeling better about them by the end of the day. Yeah.
And then you do that for a whole month, and now you're like, okay, the calling a mom is a habit, walking is a habit, smoothie is a habit, whatever. Now you can add some new things.
Yeah.
Right? And then everything just
build on it. Yeah.
adds on each other, and it's cool how it works.
Yeah.
And bro, so many things happen like that, but we don't want to believe like health is also like that.
Yeah. It's all about the small steps, man. Yeah. Definitely. All right, cool. Yeah. The next thing I want to talk about was just general health and fitness protocols everyone of every age should be following to do the bare minimum to ensure a better overall quality of life, quality of health.
Yeah.
So maybe let's start at so just for anyone at any age, what do you think are just general health and fitness protocols that everyone should implement in their daily lives in order to just live healthier, live happier lives?
I think we just literally
we actually listed quite a few of them.
We tied before our conversation, obviously I think everything ties into each other. Right? But I think the biggest thing you also mentioned, sunlight. Right? Sunlight is such an underrated thing. And a lot of people have sleep problems, right? Yeah. So like literally the sunlight thing could tweak a lot of things with the biological clock, right?
Yeah,
like
100%, yeah.
Right? Like I explain like really in a dumb way. I'm like, yo, bro, like in the morning, if you're just still in the dark and like you're home all the time, you're not going outside, your brain still thinks it's like sleepy time.
Yeah, it's nighttime.
Right? It's nighttime. So your brain's like, yo, like there's no light.
Yeah.
Because
your circadian rhythm is all thrown
off.
Yeah.
And then at nighttime, if like you're exposed to lights, like you were mentioning, like you try to have
you watch
lights,
TV or you're on your computer playing video games till like 12 o'clock.
Yeah, or like bright lights in the room, like your brain's like, oh shit, yo, light time. That means no sleepy time.
Yeah.
Right? So like it's such a basic way of explaining it, but like it makes such a massive difference, right? Like quick, like 15-minute, even walk outside in the dark. I know it's cold. If you do that at nighttime, you'll notice your sleep just like improve like crazy. And like you mentioned, before 10 in the mornings for a little walk, your sleep at night is going to improve. Right? So sunlight being a really practical thing, or like just getting more vitamin D if like in the winter time here it's tough. And the second thing I would just say is movement, man. Like some sort of movement. Steps. Right? A really low hanging fruit will be steps, like 6 to 10,000. I would say 10,000 most people. Let's at least start with 6,000. Because so many people start tracking it, it's like, oh shit, bro, I'm only hitting 3,000.
I didn't hit my steps, like
3,000 steps.
And it's like demotivating, like doing that.
Yeah. So like 6 to 10,000 steps. So get some sunlight so your sleep starts to improve, and then start moving. Once you start moving more, sleeping better, like your energy is gonna get better. Once the energy starts getting better, you start feeling better, and then you want to do more things, right?
You'll do better. If you feel better, you'll do better, right? Is what they say.
Then you start making better food choices, because a lot of people is like, oh man, I just can't stop eating this junk. And you look at their sleep, it's absolute trash, right? When your sleep's not good, your cognitive function has gone to shit. You're gonna make bad decisions. So like, if you're making bad decisions and your sleep improves, decisions gonna improve. Like, oh, instead of this chocolate bar, I'm gonna grab this apple today. Right? So everything is like a domino effect in a sense, but
it goes back to the same thing.
Right? But like the sunlight, the walking, and then nutritional habits, obviously, like
that is, I think, a massive like anchor habit that I think everyone could kind of build on.
It's practical, man.
It's practical. You get one walk in the morning and get one walk in the evening. And it doesn't make sense to me why more and more people don't do it, because especially as animals, we're basically animals at the end of the day. At one point, we were walking all fucking day. 100%. You know what I mean? We're meant to move. Ancestors were. That's what they were doing all day, out there hunting, gathering. You know what I mean? And we have, especially now that more and more of us are working from home, we're stuck behind this desk more and more. I talk to a lot of my coworkers, and they all say the same thing a lot of the times. When it comes to mood and stuff like that, and they're not feeling as good. And I'm like, because you're not getting that much movement.
100%.
A lot of them think that the answer is, we need to get back into the office. I'm like, nah, chill out, bro. I kind of like not being in the office. You know what I mean? You can work on so many other things. all you guys really need is that same movement you guys were getting at that point. 100%. You know what I mean? You need to get out there first thing in the morning. Don't just because we're at home. Yeah. Don't wake up 10 minutes before work and just jump on your computer. Yes. Wake up an hour hour before you're actually supposed to start working. Get out there for like half an hour, make a coffee maybe and just walk around your block with your coffee in your hand and just enjoy the sunlight, enjoy the nature a little bit. You'll see your mood massively improve, like 100%. Just from that. It's crazy. You have this concept, this character in some of your posts. The character of Bunty, and I think we all know a Bunty. You know what I mean? We all know maybe a couple of Bunties.
We all have a Bunty inside of us, bro.
We all have a Bunty inside of us too.
100%.
And I feel like
he's fucking rowdy, bro.
Yeah, he's rowdy, bro. He always wants to do some dumb shit.
He's dumb shit. Yeah.
Just he wants to,
This is a Bunty move today. Caffeine after 12.
Oh yeah. You 12 is your cutoff?
Yeah, 12 is a cutoff.
Oh, okay.
I sleep at 9, right? So it's
okay. That's good. I usually my cutoff is max 2 or 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
I usually sleep 10 o'clock is usually around when I sleep. 100%. But yeah, that makes a massive difference too.
100%,
because people don't realize the half-life of caffeine is like 6 hours.
Yeah, bro.
So 12 hours later is when it's finally almost out of your system.
100%.
So that's gonna have a massive effect on your.
And some people say
too.
They can sleep like through caffeine, whatever.
Yeah, a lot of people.
But it's like if you really. The
it's
quality
not
of sleep.
People
the REM sleep
think,
gets affected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You gotta look at the quality of sleep.
100%.
Not just the quantity.
Yeah.
100%.
So we got sleep.
Yeah.
So we got sunlight correlating with sleep.
Yeah.
We got movement. And then nutrition habits, right? So this is something again where like people have a really hard time with.
Mm-hmm.
But if they do the first two things, the nutrition is gonna start getting better.
Mm-hmm.
But some things to focus on is like try to increase the amount of greens and fruits, right? Veggies and fruits. I don't know if you see my stories, but I throw everything in the smoothie. So like I throw frozen veggies in a smoothie, and I throw it in the air fryer. Really, really easy ways of getting more volume of food, right? Vegetables.
Yeah.
A lot of people are missing like the micronutrient aspect,
which you get from fruits
and
vegetables.
The vitamins, minerals, all that stuff, right? So just upping that right away, they're gonna start feeling better.
Yeah, that's a good tip to just throw everything in a smoothie. Like bro. It might not be the most appetizing thing. Yeah. But it's the easiest way instead 100%. Of like. Steaming a bowl of broccoli and sitting there and eating it. It's sometimes difficult. It's easier 100%. To. That's actually something I'll probably start doing. I make a smoothie every day, anyways.
Yeah.
Might as well throw in a handful of spinach or something in there. Throw in more fruits and stuff. But yeah, that makes sense. That's a good one.
Yeah, and then like throwing protein at every single meal, right?
Every single meal, yeah.
That's usually like missing component. It's like, I'm constantly hungry. This is just something weird I kind of learned over time. Hunger wise, most people are like, I can eat so much, bro. I'm always hungry, right? But if you look at the food they're eating, there's no nutrients in there, right? So when our body's getting hungry, it's signaling you, give me some nutrients, nourish me, please, right?
That's why you're hungry,
right? But if you're constantly eating like chips or whatever you're eating, pasta, straight pasta, you're gonna be like, body's gonna keep asking for more because
it's
like,
not actually filling you up.
You still don't get nutrients, right? So we just throw some veggies with that pasta. Body's like, oh shit, bro, thanks, man.
You got some fiber and stuff. You're all of a sudden feeling a lot fuller now.
100%.
Yeah.
Fuller, and because your body's nourished.
It's nourished.
Start functioning the way you want it to function, right? So adding protein, veggies, and fruits. Basically every single meal.
That's one thing I want to ask you about. So. You always hear that, get a gram of protein per pound of body weight. What do you think is like, at minimum, everyone needs to be getting this much protein a day? Like, what do you think, in your opinion? A gram per pound of body weight? Can it be a little bit less? What do you think?
Yeah, like, so I've taken a bunch of different courses and like, they have a little bit different opinions. Like, some people even relate high protein intakes with decreasing your lifespan.
Interesting.
Over time.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that like your kidneys have to work so hard for so much protein. Right. But again, those studies are done on people that
are probably eating really shit sources of protein.
Exactly, right? So it's like these studies
are
always like a caveat to them. It's like, what's the demographic?
Exactly. You're not interviewing a group of bodybuilders or something or fitness nutritionists and stuff. You're probably it's normal population, right?
Yeah. So like there's some in like courses, they recommend 0.75 to 1.2 grams of protein. Okay. Anywhere from there. That's
kind of the range I've always heard. Yeah.
Range and like. Also, I think the concept of 1 gram per body weight, pound of body weight, is a little bit misguided because like if somebody's really, really like overweight, underweight, it has to depend on their lean body mass, right? If somebody's 300 pounds, but they have like 120 pounds of fat on them.
Yeah.
So I'm 300 grams of protein. Like
that's insane.
That's
yeah.
insane, right?
Yeah.
So for them, it's like, okay, make sure you have, based on your lean body mass,
Okay.
which might only be like 180 pounds.
Yeah.
Right? So again, that's one little difference.
Caveat there,
Like,
yeah.
like based on your lean body mass.
Mm-hmm.
But it generally, like, if you can get anywhere from like 0.8 to 1.2, that's usually
so
a good amount.
0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight.
Exactly.
So for example, if you're 180 pounds,
Yeah.
have about 180 grams of protein.
Exactly.
And but so
Up and down.
Up
You
and
have a
down.
range, right?
Yeah,
Like,
a range
have,
of like 150 to 180
yeah.
grams of protein for that
Exactly.
body weight. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. That's
Makes
usually a
sense.
good amount.
Yeah.
And most people can do that.
Yeah.
Right? And like I usually go preference based too. So like if somebody is like vegetarian, for example, or like they just don't like
Mhm.
protein too much.
Yeah.
You know, they don't like any of the meat sources. Okay, I'll maybe start with them with the 0.8 range.
Okay.
But as they start gaining a little bit of muscle and they start seeing the gains, I'm like, hey
Mhm.
bro, like, you know, your recovery is gonna get stepped up a little bit.
Yeah.
If you have 0.9
Oh,
and
yeah, it
then
makes
1.
Massive difference.
Yeah. So like depends on preference too. It's like
Yeah.
only thing that's gonna work is whatever you do consistently at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where the range kind of helps. So it helps, like, you know, whatever your preference is.
Yeah, I remember when I when I was living on my own, I was cooking a lot more like meat and stuff because my
Fire.
family's entirely vegetarian.
Oh, sure, okay.
So it's like harder for
Yeah.
me to get protein in this household right now.
Yeah.
But I still, usually hit my targets of protein and stuff.
Wicked.
But I remember that when I started, more cooking more and more meat and easily be able to get more protein. Obviously,
Yeah.
meat sources versus vegetarian sources, it's easier to get
For sure.
protein. I found that 100%.
Yeah.
Not knocking, vegetarian or vegan diets at all, but
Yeah.
it's just the facts of it.
It is, yeah.
And my physique blew the fuck up. Like I'll show you like
Yeah.
some of my pictures and stuff, and from that transformation, the initial transformation I did,
Yeah.
and physique blew up, my strength gains blew up,
Yeah,
just
bro.
from. I'm not even saying from meat. I'm saying just from actually getting the correct amount of protein
100%.
that my body should be getting.
Yeah, bro.
You feel fuller as well, so many benefits.
So many benefits, man.
From getting enough protein.
Yeah. 100%.
And so that's another thing I wanted to ask you was plant-based proteins versus meat protein source.
Yeah.
What's the main piece of advice you'd give someone that is vegetarian or vegan, and because you're not always, as a vegetarian or vegan, you think you're getting enough protein, but it may not be the actual type of protein you need, a complete protein, we might call, right?
Yeah.
So maybe kind of explain what's a complete protein, and as a vegetarian or vegan, how are some maybe easier ways you can try to hit those protein marks in your opinion?
So the complete protein concept, a really easy way of explaining it, a protein has like a amino acid profile, right? So a protein from a meat source like chicken or beef or whatever, it has a complete profile.
Okay.
Complete protein.
Of those amino acids.
All the amino acids are in there,
Mm-hmm.
right? But then, for example, like a kidney bean or like, hemp parts, like vegan protein sources, it doesn't have 100% protein profile. It might be 80%.
Okay.
So the idea there is to get the full amino acid profile, you got to have a little bit more of those sources compared to like 160 grams of vegetarian protein compared to 160 grams of meat protein.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the exact studies and exact difference here,
Yeah.
right? But the difference would be you're not getting a full amino acid profile with the vegetarian.
Okay.
So your recovery capabilities and like
Is not the same.
it's not fully the same. Like I don't know what the exact difference. It might be like a 2% difference.
I get you. Yeah.
Or like 5% difference.
Yeah.
But also the fact that most of the protein sources that are vegetarian, like kidney beans, hemp parts, tofu, all that stuff, like they end up having different macros with it too, like some more carbs,
more calories,
fats, more calories.
Yeah.
So you gotta almost be a little more careful and pick your choices a little better.
Yeah.
So some ways people can increase their protein or like still hit their targets, choose a little more sources that are a little more refined, like in terms of tofu, even soy. And I know there's whole controversy around soy.
Yeah.
It's gonna lower your testosterone, up your estrogen.
Up your estrogen and shit.
But yeah, that's, I would say, alright, it's a myth, right?
It's a negligible difference. Like I've done the research as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the difference is very minor, and
Mhm.
like there's something called androgens instead,
Mm-hmm.
and all the vegetarian has it, like beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, tofu, soy. They all have androgens,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's not estrogen, it's androgen,
Mhm.
which your body actually needs, right? So it's not a bad thing at all.
Okay.
So yeah, upping your protein through those sources instead of like, you know, higher fat, like paneer, for example.
Yeah.
Cottage cheese, like those are a little more higher fat.
Yeah, but you can even cottage cheese. You can get like 0% cottage cheese,
0%.
right? And that's a pretty good source of protein. It has a lot of protein in there.
Yeah, Greek yogurt too.
Greek yogurt. I eat
Sure.
Greek yogurt every day. Yeah.
There's another this thing, I guess, like when you learn too much, it kind of messes with you a little bit.
Yeah.
So all these low fat, zero fat sources of dairy, they're constantly now actually studies and shit are coming out.
Yeah.
And even this course I took, primal health course I took in 2020, the zero fat stuff is actually the most processed dairy there is.
Oh, okay. So that's another thing you gotta be careful of.
About. You don't want to overconsume either, right? So if you logically think about it, how does this, the cow give nice fat milk?
Yeah.
And how does it turn into this low fat protein Greek yogurt?
Yeah.
The process it has to go through to get there.
Yeah.
You just gotta think, right? It's like
it's more processed. It's more processed foods.
It's literally more processed, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to overconsume all that stuff either.
So even for things like Greek yogurt, you recommend going for something like more 2%. You can get 2% Greek yogurt.
Exactly.
Or
higher.
Obviously not full fat, because then you're just getting something like paneer again, right? Like that is more closer to like.
But full fat is actually some of the most nutritious dairy products ever.
Okay.
Like the B12, the vitamins in there.
Yeah.
It's actually one of the most nutrient dense foods out there. So this is where the whole calorie stuff comes in, right? It's like, okay, you gotta be a little more picky with your choices.
Okay.
Because you want to pick nutritious stuff, but then the nutritious stuff could add up in calories fairly quick.
Yeah. That's
why a lot of vegetarians are easy to gain weight, because their diet is so high in carbs and fats. But it's hard to lose weight, right? It's like, oh man, where do I get my protein?
Yeah.
So again, that's the question you asked. How do I get my protein?
Yeah.
So again, this comes to the first one of the fitness tips: add protein to every single meal with vegetables and fruit.
Yeah.
Even some vegetables like broccoli, like 100 grams of broccoli, probably like 6 grams of protein. So like adding more veggies.
We'll up that protein intake a little bit.
Exactly. So you gotta almost pick yourself. Like multi-grain bread has a little bit of protein.
Yeah.
You don't want to overconsume bread either. That's another caveat, right? So it just becomes a little more picky.
It's just a balancing act. It's just about picking the right things.
Yeah. Hemp parts are actually fairly good. Hemp protein, pea protein.
Hemp protein, pea protein, yeah.
Chickpea pasta is an easy protein source.
Yeah.
It's higher in carb, obviously.
Yeah.
But chickpeas give you a good amount of protein as well.
Basically what I'm hearing is you gotta just be careful with your choices. Try not to get, when it comes to like vegetarian, vegan stuff, it's like easy to, consume over processed stuff, so be wary of that as well. So just basically try to add some source of protein to each of your meals, along with fruits and veggies.
You got it.
A good carb source, obviously. And then just be wary of how processed is the food that you're eating.
Exactly.
Right,
because there's so many brands, right? Like plant-based, Gardein, fake chicken, fake
all this like fake stuff, like
fake stuff,
to
and
try
like the fact that it's fake, like people call it fake, it should give you like, it should be like a red flag.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I'm eating something fake, like. But that's another topic, man.
Okay, that is totally not. We could talk about this shit for like ages. But okay, cool. That's good to know. I'm sure it'll help a lot of people that are kind of in that category there. But okay, cool. All right. So another question I wanted to ask you was, how should training approach differ for men, women, adolescents, kids? So maybe let's start with start on the bottom end of the spectrum, kids. You know what I mean? What should people with the young kids? I don't know when kids really should be starting to train or whatever. At a young age they should already be running around and stuff. But a lot of the times I see parents just hand their kid an iPad. And they're like, all right, fuck off. You know what I mean? Like you're distracted for a good couple hours, and I see that shit. I'm like, damn, bro, that is really detrimental. As like an adult that's trying to cut my own screen time as much as possible, in every avenue that I can.
He's born in it.
And these people are like these kids are born into it, and that has to be detrimental for multiple reasons we already know. You know what I mean? Like that little iPad is just an easy source of dopamine. You just handed that kid a drug, basically.
100%.
Basically, you've handed them a drug.
100%.
So let's talk about kids. You know what I mean?
I don't have kids. I don't know if you.
I don't have kids either. I'm not.
We used to be kids.
Yeah, we used to be kids. Yeah, and eventually, I'm sure both of us want kids one day.
Kids, So again, this is not even training related, but whenever I have kids and anyone who asks me for advice for kids, it's always a caveat. Obviously, I don't have, but based on knowledge, is try try to get them into sports right away when they're younger,
Mm-hmm.
right? Gymnastics is actually a wicked thing to start off with. Develop so much body awareness all over the body, right? Like, so it's like you can get into different positions, mobility wise, and you can do things on one hand, two hands, single leg, double leg. So you build such stability and mobility. You create this body awareness, and that body awareness could translate to anything. Any sport you play, anything you do in the gym. And that's one of the biggest struggles people have when they start the gym later on in their lives, right?
Definitely, body awareness, getting form correct.
They don't even know how like a bicep is supposed to feel.
Mind-muscle connection.
Right? So like something like that would be like a nice initial starting point.
That makes sense,
But nowadays, all these sports, all these things are really expensive. And the time aspect, like parents are constantly busy. They're barely living paycheck to paycheck, whatever. So it's like getting them in these things is harder.
It may not be feasible for everyone,
Right, so something at home is like some sort of yoga, which you can just put a YouTube video on. So the iPad, instead of iPad, like put on your, computer, laptop, and do the yoga with the kid. That's a good starting point. You develop some body awareness, he develops or she develops some body awareness, and get into different positions. Because that's the biggest thing, right? It's like even now as adults, like we spend a lot of time in this position, like our hands are here and our hips are here, right? So when you go to the gym and you're trying to do something overhead, it's like, oh, I pulled my shoulder, because we're spending all our life here. Or it's like we try to do a squat, it's like, yo, we're sitting here,
our body's not used
down,
to that movement,
right? Oh, I hurt my low back. It's like a body needs to be used the way, like we were talking in the start.
If you don't use it, you lose it, right?
So like something like yoga and then walking, bro, like such simple stuff outside of the gym. So we haven't got to the gym yet. Yoga and just some walking.
And that's something like you can, like as we said, like that's something we as adults should be doing, right? Getting in our daily walk. So that's something you could do with your kid together. 100%. First thing in the morning before you start work, go for a half-hour walk with your kid. After dinner in the evening, go for another half-hour walk with your kid. That's boom, you've taken care of that right there.
And bro, that's gonna be a habit that stays with the kid for the next 100 years. Right. So, and that's such a good thing where the kid is gonna be so grateful later on in life, because he'll see people around him. They don't even walk every 3 days.
And they're having all these issues with their body,
right?
and stuff.
And they feel great. Right? So walking, yoga, and then I don't know which age range we're kind of talking about, but like in the gym, like just lifting, not even like crazy heavy weights, but getting into some motion, some machine stuff.
At what age do you think like a kid could start lifting? Like I'm not talking about like crazy lifting or something, but even I understand like what's wrong with I remember when I was younger, there's always that myth that if you start lifting like short you're not gonna be as tall and stuff. And now I'm 6'3", bro, like so I'm not worried about that, but I know that's a myth. Like that's you're not gonna end up being short just because you're lifting some weight.
Your spine's gonna get compressed.
Your spine's gonna get compressed or something. But at what age do you think kids can start getting into actual resistance training and start working with a little bit of light weights and stuff?
I would honestly only put the kids back in the gym like after 10, 12-ish. And this is also if they're already playing a good amount of sports. I'll only do like 1-2 sessions a week at the gym. Nothing crazy more than that. If they're not playing sports, maybe 3 sessions a week, because they're at just a growing age. Any stimulus, you'd be like, oh shit, yo, I got biceps, right? You're just gonna grow so fast. And at this point, like your body is going through a lot of hormonal changes. Like it's just a lot of stress. A lot of kids get pimples. You're learning a lot of stuff. You're starting to like girls if you're a guy. Girls try to get their thing going on monthly. So there's so many different changing happen. So you want to make sure like you don't add too much stimulus, because this is another actually downside of too many sports as well. A lot of people in sports training, like the kids, they burn their shit out. Like these practices, I don't know if you played sports when you were younger.
I was a fat kid growing up.
So like,
but my parents did force me into soccer and stuff. And I remember. The
training sessions are ridiculously fatiguing, right?
Oh yeah, you don't feel like when you come home, you don't really feel like doing anything else.
Bro, and like your diet's not obviously that on point.
Back then, it's just roti and whatever sabji or dal is.
Bro, mine used to be like ice cap and like
kurkure. Stuff like that too. Obviously, chips and shit.
So like it used to be depending on how their diet is and stuff, but 10 to 12 is usually a good range. Couple sessions, just build body awareness. I think that's the biggest thing. Once I start building body awareness, and like 15, 16, so lifting weights, 14, even 14, man. Like I think 14, 13, 14 till 18. Like fucking just get jacked.
Yeah,
start getting jacked.
And like that's like a really optimal age too, you know,
yeah,
hormone wise and stuff. 100%. So like, why not use it, right?
I started around I think I was like 14ish.
I think I was around 14, 15 too when I started working out, like just at home and stuff.
Yeah, I used to go to the recreation center.
Yeah,
do like machine bench press and like bicep curls,
safer movements, you know, while you're still learning and stuff. And yeah. So
build cardio up, get your walks in, build body awareness. Yeah, that would be a good starting point. And then we're saying girls and guys, right?
Yeah. So the other thing I was gonna ask, how should training differ for, say, the female demographic versus male demographic? Or you know, to be honest, I see a lot of girls that are in amazing shape that can basically do the same thing, same type of training that guys do, you know, powerlifting or 100%. Heavier lifting combined with other, you know, maybe lighter, more endurance work as well. And like, it's only helped them create an amazing physique and be able to do amazing things with that physique.
So like, first thing I'll say is it's pretty same. Like, it's pretty similar, bro. Like, I think people overcomplicate this topic. Or it's like, oh shit, female, male, like it should be a little different. Yeah, and like, you know, some girls may be scared of lifting heavy weight for some reason. That's another topic, bro. Like, they think they'll get too jacked.
They think they're gonna get too. Trust me, as a guy, it's hard enough getting jacked. You know what I mean? Like, you're not gonna.
You're already lacking in testosterone and things like that. Like, so like the main, like a general guideline usually is females have much higher pain tolerance, so they can just have more, they can do more volume in the gym. So like all my female clients and online in person, it's like I gotta hammer them with like supersets and like more reps, more sets, because they're like ready to go after each set. Like they're just like, yo, like I can keep going. I can keep going. So their pain tolerance is much more. So usually volume wise, they can take a bit more reps and sets. But depending on the goal, right? Like if their goal is like powerlifting, for example, if they're trying to get strong or lift heavy shit, it's pretty similar. Like you still take a longer rest period between sets, so you can add weight and make sure you have rest between, so you get effective reps. Similar in that sense, but usually they can handle a bit more volume, because they can just tolerate more pain. But
overall, male and female, it doesn't matter. Just get in the gym and start lifting, right?
And like they usually like hitting the lower body a bit more often.
Right?
They like lower focus. Guys like a more upper focus. So I guess that's more like depending on the girls. More girls are getting into upper body lifting too now.
I remember in the beginning as a guy skipping leg day over and over again. Me just because, you know, you gotta hit that chest pump feels better, you know.
100%.
And how about for maybe, or we were just talking about my dad, right? So he works out, you know, he does the elliptical trainer thing that we have out there. He works out every day. Sick. He does his yoga and stuff as well. And then now recently I got him into a little bit of resistance training. Sick. But he's still a little bit like hesitant about lifting. And I'm trying to convince him that, trust me, bro, like if you start lifting, like your life will change. Like 100%. You'll love it, and you'll be stronger, you'll have more energy, your joints will be overall, they'll thank you for it later on and stuff. If any, like, don't worry, it's not gonna like, I feel like you're worried that you're gonna hurt yourself or something, but if you're doing, you know, the right form, right movements and stuff, you'll be fine. You know, eating the right things, getting enough rest and recovery, you'll be okay. So let's talk about that maybe people that are a little bit older in age, maybe over 40, that are thinking like, how should they program their fitness overall protocol?
I think you pretty much answered it. Right? But yeah, so like obviously that being, we already mentioned this so many times, so people hopefully understand it. Like the movement in general is key, like moving, walking, some sort of yoga, body awareness. But as you get older, resistance training becomes really, really, really important. And you listen to Huberman, I'm sure he talks about it quite a bit too. Resistance training in general, the concept of building muscle, right? You're giving resistance to your muscle, so your muscle has to adapt and then grow, right? So you can add more resistance over time. So as you get older and older, the muscles are starting to degrade, atrophying, right? They're starting to go downwards. So for
more important than
more important, right? You see a lot of people like when they're older, like hunched over or like, you know, limping, or, you know, just not able to do stuff properly or hurting themselves on certain movements. So muscles atrophy, right? Like your body's not able to hold yourself up. So if you want to live long but also live, you know, healthy and happy, like it's not about how long you live, it's all about how like good you're living.
Quality of life. What's the point if you live to 100 but you're stuck in a bed all day or something, right?
Exactly. So muscle is going to be actually the best friend you can have as you get older. So the way you can set a routine up is something where like full body sessions, right? Like keep it simple.
Full body sessions
3 times a week or something. 3 times a week, and like 2 other days maybe go for your like normal yoga sessions, and then every day
cardio,
walk.
Right? Yeah.
Every day do your walking. 3 full body sessions, and you can set it up like, yeah, fuck it. We'll just like, so go into first or day 1, start with like a pulling movement, right? You can do some sort of like assisted pull-ups or like a pull down. Then go into a push movement, some sort of press, and then we do a lower body like a leg press, so machine, right? You're doing a full body right there, like 3 sets of 10 to 12, all of them.
Okay.
Get stronger over time.
And
second day we start with lower, right? Maybe this time start with like a machine. If you want to do leg press again, you can, or like a hack squat, or like a Smith machine squat, or like a goblet squat. Something stable, something supported.
Okay.
You can start with that, and then maybe go into a push movement.
Yeah. Like
maybe a higher incline press this time instead of a flat.
So basically, similar structure for all those 3 days, just a variation of exercises just to keep it fresh, keep it mixed up and stuff.
Yeah.
Different angles, different muscles and stuff.
Exactly. But one day make it more like start with up, lower. Yeah. Start maybe one day start with pull, one day start with push.
Okay.
And then repeat that for the rest, 50 years.
Yeah, and
right?
Be happy with reap the rewards of that hard work.
And like, I think a misconception people have is because a lot of these older people, they used to either be in like sports or they used to do stuff when they were younger, or used to destroy themselves, right?
Oh yeah.
So when they do like this softer workout, lifting wise, maybe 30-40 minutes, they're like, oh shit, I don't even feel like anything crazy.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to. You should feel good. You should feel fresh afterwards. The whole point is for your body to be like, yo, it's finally functioning the way I want to function, right?
Yeah.
So you shouldn't feel fried.
Yeah.
Because people get in the rabbit hole of like high intensity, crazy, jumpy, hippie shit, right? Whatever.
And then the next day it's like, you can't even hit the gym again.
And you don't want to go back.
Fried. Yeah.
And then you have this negative association now with the gym.
Yeah.
And now holds you back every single time. Now you're fried, right?
Yeah. I remember that was always, overtraining was always it's an easy hurdle to hit. You get really motivated to hit the gym, and you go balls to the walls right away, and then you forget about rest and recovery and things like that. Like, your body doesn't need too much.
Especially most people don't train.
Yeah.
So initial like year and 2 years, like little stimulus.
Yeah.
Take
it easy. You know what I mean? Don't go straight 100% all the way. 100%. Leave something in the tank for the next day. Get proper rest and recovery.
Yeah, bro.
It all goes back to these basic principles, and like it makes it easier. Like it makes 100%. It easier to stay with it, stay committed, 100%. And not fall off. Then,
yeah, bro.
Yeah. Or else, every year I feel like January comes around and people have the same New Year's resolution.
Yeah, bro.
But once again, they put in 100% when it's like, no, it's just these small little habits that you just gotta build upon.
Yeah, man.
And you'll be happier for it.
Yeah, bro. Most guys that get online in person like have to cut all their workouts in half.
Yeah, because they're doing too much, right?
Doing too much, man.
Yeah.
Doing too much, eating too less.
Yeah.
And like, this is a sick analogy I heard the other day. Most people want to lose fat, lose weight, whatever, get leaner or pull muscle, whatever, and that's where they eat less and do a lot more, right? So they can get leaner. But this whole concept of comparing that lean look to a car. So do you want to look like a smart car at the end of the fat loss process, or you want to look like a Ferrari, right? So when people do a lot and eat less, end of that journey, they end up looking like a smart car, right? They have no muscle built. They have nothing on their body, right?
You haven't fueled it. Yeah, you haven't fueled all that work you've done. Yeah.
So if you want a Ferrari look, you gotta eat more, fuel the premium gas that your body requires and wants, right?
Yeah.
And then give it with good stimulus in the gym.
Yeah.
By cutting out so you can actually recover from it. And at that end of the journey, you start looking like a Ferrari, right?
Exactly. And it's more about like tracking, especially if you're trying to get bigger.
100%.
Track your sets and your reps, and your weight especially, and then try to add to that every week, whether it's adding a rep or two every week, or adding 2.5 or 5 pounds to that every week. If your weight, say your bench press is going up, your chest will grow, right?
100%.
Like if you're able to do more reps with that same weight, or able to do the same amount of reps with more weight, that muscle has grown, and 100%. That's how that strength works at the end of the day. Okay, cool, awesome. Cool. I'm glad we got that out of the way. For the most part, there isn't a huge difference in training.
No.
It's more about just getting in, actually training
100%.
and giving yourself, you know, the right amount of rest and recovery.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Train hard, recover harder.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. How about body part / training? So optimizing body parts or training splits. Do you think, like, you know, a lot of the times there's the bro split, you know, chest day Monday, and then, you know, maybe next day do back and shoulders or something, and then doing you know, arms and then legs kind of split, that traditional bodybuilder split. Then there's push pull leg split. Then there's you know, upper lower body split. What do you think is the optimal split to follow, or does it not matter, or do different splits help with different things?
So this is a trendy word right now, optimal, right?
Optimal, yeah.
How can you optimize everything?
Optimize everything, yeah.
I don't know if you see, like, so many movements on Instagram, like, you know, single arm, side bend, fucking one leg out, one leg in, doing all these optimal ways of doing things, right? Everything kind of obviously works, and you got to be consistent with everything, but I think the biggest concept is, what kind of splits do you enjoy, right? Like, what do you first of all enjoy? Because again, enjoyment is going to relate to consistency. Consistency long term equal gains. Yeah. So it's like, first find something you actually enjoy. If you're like me, you enjoy progress, so you want to choose the most optimal thing, right? So the biggest concept is frequency and recovery, right? So this is what I've learned over the years, where, like, before I used to train a lot, overtrain, not eat much, you know, that's how I learned all this stuff, right? But my recovery never matched my training stimulus. So growth was fairly limited. So if you want to optimize things, first of all, it's like, how many days can you train that you'll actually recover from, right? It's like, hey, okay, maybe 4 days a week, 5 days a week, I can 100% recover from, because I'll have my nutrition, sleep, whatever on point, right? So if your recovery can match your training days, that's going to be a big factor. And the second is going to be frequency, right? How frequently can you hit a muscle group and make sure it's recovered and hit it again, right? So if you're going by the frequency principle, you can maybe do like a push-pull legs. If you're able to train 6 days and recover from it, that's a caveat, right? 6 days recovery is really tough for most people, because, you know, for them, sleep, all that stuff has to be on point. So usually 5 days, 4 days. I personally do a 4-day split, upper, lower, right?
Makes sense, yeah.
And I take like 3 days in a week off. So that's what I recover from. So recovery is major. That's where you grow. Second thing is frequency. Usually studies show, like, your body part takes about 48 hours to recover from stimulus. So if you're doing like upper body, like chest and back and shoulders and arms on day 1, usually 2 days later it's ready to go again. So you can technically do a upper lower day off, upper lower day off, upper lower day off, and just continue that, right? So frequency is a big factor. Push pull legs, again, amazing, right? Same kind of concept of
Similar
frequency.
Frequency.
Frequency applies. With the body part split thing, it's like, you're basically,
you're not getting enough recovery, right?
Or like, you're not getting enough stimulus either, right? If you're doing body part split, if you're doing chest on Monday, and you're waiting till next Monday, now you get 7 days between, right? When you can be doing chest again on Thursday.
Exactly,
right? And like, I throw arms and shoulders every single day. Even leg day, I do arms and shoulders in the end.
Because they can handle more, because we use them more, right? They can handle more stimulus and stuff.
Exactly. And maybe just one exercise for each, right? Nothing crazy, right? Just one exercise. Instead of having a full shoulder arm day, I can use that recovery time.
Because that's such a kind of a useless day to just do just shoulders and arms, or just arms. Like, it doesn't.
I used to do that too. I used to do 2-hour arm days. It's ridiculous.
My god, I remember that. I used to do that shit too.
And like, if you're like a bodybuilder, where like, you have specific weak body parts, like your shoulder, chest, upper chest, whatever, then it's like, you might benefit from that. But generally speaking, most of us just are trying to look jacked, get bigger, get stronger. So go with the fact, what can you recover from? What days, how many days training can you recover from? Secondly, how many days can you actually train, right? So those two kind of combine together. Say, okay, I can realistically go 4 days every single week for the rest of the year. Okay, start with 4 days, right? Or 3 days or 2 days, whatever it is. Start with that, and then frequency, right? How often can I stimulate a muscle group? And then again, this can be a little more specific, like we kind of talked about. Which body part do you want to focus on, right? And was it lower? Is it upper? If it's a lower, maybe what you'll do is like, because I have a couple of girls that, you know, train online. It's like, okay, I want to really grow the lower body. I want to get that Kim K looking ass,
that
right?
BBL,
right? So it's like, okay, what we do is we lower the volume on the upper body, but we make it high intensity. So like, only doing 2 sets, but, you know, 6 to 10 reps, failure.
Okay.
So we're going full out on those 2 sets.
Yeah.
And then lower body is more volume based. So it might be like 3 to 4 sets, 8 to 15 reps.
Okay.
Right? So you're doing more volume. So lower body is kind of using more of the resources.
Okay.
We're still getting enough stimulus for the upper,
Yeah.
but it's higher intensity, lesser volume.
Okay.
Right? So now you're spreading out the volume a little more towards the lower body because that's the focus. And guys, you can switch the opposite, right? You can make the upper body a little more focused.
Okay.
And lower body a little less volume, maybe more intensity.
Okay.
So again, that's another one.
Okay.
But I think I answered your question.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Okay, good to know. So basically, just get in the gym. But you want to kind of stay away from the traditional bodybuilder split because that's way too long of a recovery for each body.
For most
part.
people.
You're going 7 days without training your chest again. That's, I think,
if you're truly training like a bodybuilder and you do that chest on Monday,
that's different.
Then it's different.
Yeah,
because most people don't train that hard.
No one if you're not an actual bodybuilder into bodybuilding competition, that type of training is totally different. But if you're trying to get functionally fit and stronger in the gym for everyday life,
100%.
Then it does make sense to me too. I do a similar push pull legs type of split or upper lower split some weeks, and that does make more sense to me. 100%. And then just decreasing your training to like instead of 7 days a week, more like 4 or 5 days a week.
Exactly.
And then what about your rest days? What do you usually do on let's say that daily walks aren't considered training. That's just part of your that should be part of everyone's normal daily habits. It's like like you eat, sleep, you should be getting up in the morning and going for walks.
Should be a normal practice.
Just like you eat and sleep. You breathe, you should be walking, right? So we're not going to consider that as part of training. But on your rest days, do you do any training, or do you just take completely rest other than your daily walk?
So back to the one quick thing on the training thing, like I think you said it, make sure you track your stuff. So tracking and making sure like you actually have a plan in place that you're following.
So tracking your reps,
your reps and sets,
your weights for
at least your bigger
exercise.
lifts, maybe not like arms and shoulders.
For like your bench press, your squats, your deadlifts things
rows,
like that.
Whatever.
Rows,
make sure you're tracking and make sure you have a plan in place.
And you're trying to beat those reps or beat those
match or beat every single week.
Every week,
you might have 3 weeks you match, but like 4th week you might beat it. If you do that over a span of 10 years, you get pretty juicy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Pretty juicy. I like that.
But so on my rest days, I like completely like, obviously the walks you already mentioned. I still like hitting like 10 to 12,000 steps that day. On a consistent basis. But I guess steps and walks we'll just leave at like, that should be normal.
That should be part of your everyday habit. That should be part of your
like your sleep,
everyday protocol. Like you sleep, like you eat.
You should be walking.
You should be walking. Yeah.
Other than that, like I kind of actually just try to rest.
Okay.
I don't do anything crazy except cardio. Like I do like a 20-minute session twice a week. The third rest day is complete rest.
Okay.
And cardio, again, that's another topic by itself, but I try to maintain like a 130 to 140 heart rate while doing it.
Okay.
So this hits like your cardio / like whatever energy system.
Cardiovascular system training, basically.
Right. So that's more for like heart health, especially as you try to get bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
If your heart's stronger, your blood kind of pumps better. You get juicier pumps, right?
Yeah.
That's what you kind of want. You want a big pump, right? So you can flex on the gram, obviously.
Yeah.
But for heart health purposes, 2 cardio sessions, which are outside of that walking zone of heart rate.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit more than normal, right?
So it's actual. The walking is more, not as like cardiovascular intensive, right?
Exactly.
This is now actually cardiovascular training.
Yeah.
So training to training your endurance, your cardiovascular endurance, right?
Yeah, I put on a podcast and then I just
run,
go for a little run. Nothing crazy. And depends what you enjoy. Like some people enjoy like some sort of interval training, high intensity training. I just I don't really enjoy cardio, so I just look at 20 minutes on the treadmill. Yeah. Quick little jog, nothing crazy.
Okay. And one thing I want to ask you is, so cardiovascular training versus strength / resistance training.
Yeah.
Say you only have time, in your weekly, when you get to hit the gym or whatever, to do one or the other. What should people be focusing on? Getting a lift in or doing cardiovascular, like running or elliptical or whatever, or treadmill?
I might be a bit more biased, but I would always say resistance train. It just has more long-term benefits, right? So if you lift weights, you stimulate the muscle grows. Now that muscle is with you, right? And now that muscle, even at rest, you're burning calories, your metabolism is faster, You're using those muscles to live your daily life a little better. Your quality of life is going up.
Mm-hmm.
With the cardio, it's like more like in that moment itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, your heart's kind of getting a little stronger.
Yeah.
But if you're going for your walks anyways, like you should be fine.
Yeah.
Like walking is usually, someone just walks.
Yeah.
Like most people can get away with not doing cardio.
That's still a cardio that's still a form of cardio. You're
Exactly.
still getting the
You're
cardio
moving.
Exercise.
Yeah.
And even lifting it's still working your cardiovascular
you do high volume
system.
training.
And if anything, you're just getting more benefits
long term,
than just doing the cardio work. You wouldn't be
100%.
getting the muscle benefits or the strength improvements if you were doing just cardio, right?
Yeah. I always tell people like you should at least the training sessions of lifting should almost be like double or triple the amount of cardio you do in a week. Okay, so like if you're doing 5 training sessions, and maybe then you can go do 2 cardio sessions. If you're doing 4, 2 is fine. But if you're doing like 4 cardio sessions, 4 training sessions, now you're allocating your resources evenly. When resistance training deserves more resources because that's going to have more long-term benefit.
More long-term benefits. Okay.
Right.
Cool.
And you look jacked, so.
And you look jacked, so who doesn't want to look jacked? Exactly. That's what we're here for, right? Trying to get jacked and shit.
That's it, bro.
All right, so we've talked about that. Exercise, non-exercise activity. We've kind of touched this topic, but right now we're focusing mainly on exercise and actual movement. And, we'll get into more nutrition principles in a second. But one of the last things I wanted to ask you when it comes to direct training related stuff is lagging body parts. So say there, we all have lagging body parts, right? That we think that this over the I wish that this part of me I wish I had a little bit bigger arms or whatever. For me it's my legs. I'm a tall guy, so I got like skinny looking legs all the time. Especially I'll get back into this, but like 2 years ago I had a little health scare where I was in the hospital for like a year almost.
Oh shit.
And that's a whole story of its own. But
it's a different podcast. This would be an intro podcast story.
Yeah.
You should do your own story podcast.
I should maybe just
solo.
Yeah, a solo one where I'm just talking and just explaining what
modern meditations is and your own story.
That's a good idea. I'm glad you gave me that idea. But
I didn't get to be on the first podcast.
This is the first podcast.
Okay, 6.
This is gonna be the first podcast.
Wicked.
Or maybe I'll drop both at the same time. I'll record at the.
Too much content for
exactly. I'll just record that maybe this weekend as well. Yeah. It's crazy. The video is like completely blocking out your face. I just realized that.
Oh, that's fine. Oh, the sun?
Oh yeah, the sun. Yeah, that's a little better.
That's such a choice.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. But anyways, it's mostly going to be about the audio anyways. But okay. So we're talking about lagging body parts.
Yeah.
So what should someone do? Should I hit... so now I do hit leg day twice a week.
Nice. Congrats, bro.
So is that... Yeah, right? Like that's a huge improvement from like when I first started lifting and, skipping leg days.
Yeah.
So is that the solution then? Just more frequency for that body part?
Yeah, and like I think the biggest thing we don't look at is finding movements that work for you. I think we kind of just see conventionally, your barbell squat people do, walking lunge people do, everything works, right? Like so you just go do those movements, but we don't understand the concept that like stability in movements helps you target a muscle way better. Like a leg press, for example, will grow your legs way more than a squat. For most people, because most people don't have enough skill to actually connect with a squat.
It's a hard movement,
where their quads and glutes actually give out. Usually their low back or core gives out
before. So
there's no muscular failure. If there's no close to failure, your legs don't need to adapt to anything, right? It's like, yo bro, I've been doing this, like I don't need to grow because there's no adaptation, right? Where like a leg extension or like a leg press, you can go to
your actual legs are doing the work than your entire body.
Because it's already a stable movement, right? So if someone's really lagging a body part, I usually go with a stable movement first, and this is the concept of specificity, right? So you got to be more specific with muscle groups that you're lagging. So like start your workouts with the exercise that you'll stimulate the shit out of your growth in your muscle. So like a leg press or even a leg extension. Like I get guys who stand it on a leg extension and a hamstring curl before they even start their leg day. So now their quads and hammies are already kind of fried, but their knees are warmed up. And now since your muscle is already kind of fatigued, likelihood is when you go do a squat movement, now the quad is actually going to give up because it's not fresh instead of your core. Right? So now you're almost able to take it a little more closer to failure. So traditionally, barbell squat usually the first movement people do. If you do it like fourth in the exercise order, you're going to get more out of it because your legs are actually going to give out now instead of your core.
Damn. Okay, I didn't even think about. I've recently
Right?
stopped doing barbell squats because I feel like I wasn't getting
Bro.
as much out of it, especially for like I'm a taller guy. It feels like
especially
a
you're taller.
awkward movement, and like I don't
100%.
really feel it in my legs as much.
That's
so,
the biggest thing.
yeah, I like doing things like Bulgarian split squat
Fuck
instead,
yeah,
or like
sturdy.
those are, I love those. I feel them. I really feel them in my legs.
So yeah, like Bulgarians, walking lunges might be a little tougher for you too. You're a taller guy.
Mm-hmm. I like those too though. Yeah,
more stability.
Yeah,
but like in walking lunges, your stability is probably gonna give out before your legs give out. Or like your cardio's kind of give out before your legs give out.
Yeah.
So it's again a movement that maybe end of the workout, where now you're already kind of fried. Now likelihood is like your muscles and stability is gonna give out together.
Okay.
But yeah, so thinking about stable movements, and now making that earlier in the exercise order, whatever your muscle growth focus is. Like for upper body, a lot of guys lack upper chest and shoulders, or like for you, legs, right? So like upper body, will start with some shoulders, like lateral raises every single time. You know, instead of just going into your benching or whatever, start with lateral raises. Okay. Right? And with cable lateral raises, start with dumbbell lateral raises. Okay. Right? Something like that. So you're the concept of specificity, right? Okay. You're being specific with the muscle group. People are like, oh shit, I'll just hit it end of every workout. Yeah. It'll grow. Yeah. But it's like, yo, bro, you already used your resources. Yeah. During that workout, and you signal to the brain that like, hey, I want to allocate more resources to these exercises rather than that last one. Yeah. If you leave it to the end, it's not actually being worked out to the full capacity, exactly, right? It's like anything.
That makes sense. Like a lot of times, guys will be like, all right, yo, I want to grow my arms. So at the end of every workout, I'm going to do some arms. Yeah, mindlessly, yeah.
Instead of having one exercise, have arms, but have it like 4 times a week. So have it on your leg days, have it on your other upper body day, have it on your 4th leg day too. Okay. Now you're done one exercise. So you're like, fuck, I only have one arm exercise. Make sure I make this exercise count. So you send it on it, right? Yeah. So the quality goes way up. People take the quantity approach, the quality diminishes, and they stay small, right? Yeah. So it's like quality first, and then like making sure like you're doing it in a smart fashion, like choose stable movements. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And frequency, I guess you can add to like.
And you can add to the frequency, but okay, cool.
Yeah, I think you already mentioned it. Like you started doing legs twice a week.
I started doing legs twice a week now, and just changing up. So it's good to know I'm kind of on the right path, changing up the movements, to kind of actually be more specific to the legs and focus on the actual legs.
And like one last thing, I guess it's more nutrition based, but like on those days, eat a little bit more than normal. Okay. Your post workout, increase some carbs, protein. Yeah. Have our like higher calorie body part days. Okay. Right. This is more specific. It's more simple for people to follow the same calories every day. Yeah. But like
it gets to the concept of like refeed days, right? Like a lot of people call them.
Or like optimization, right? So like if you want to optimize your lagging body parts, eat a bit more on those days. Okay. So right? You're kind of fueling it more, refeeding it more.
Refeed
might be more like when someone's in a deficit cutting,
and they have a high day. Yeah, right? And have a high calorie day. Yeah, that's true. Okay, cool. Good to know. So on those days, refueling more as well to kind of send those signals to that body part and stuff, and the recovery for that body part. Yeah. Makes sense. All right, cool. Let's get into a little bit more. Now we're talking about nutrition a little bit. So nutrition principles and consistency. So let's talk about first the number one problem usually most bunties have with their weight loss journey is losing weight and counting and tracking calories. Yeah. I understand now, especially after going through my own weight loss journey, how important it is to actually track and count and maybe even weigh what you're eating. 100%. Because you may think that, by eyeballing it, you have an idea of how many calories are in that thing. But when you actually weigh out, like say a tablespoon of olive oil or something, and you compare that into what is actually going into the food you're cooking, it's a massive difference.
100%.
So someone trying to lose weight, what's the number one principles or a few principles they need to be following nutrition wise to make sure that they hit their goals, that they're actually losing the right amount of weight every week, and also not undershooting their calories too much, where they're kind of affecting their recovery, affecting their maybe hormones and stuff. A lot of the times we go on a diet or something, and they call it crash diets and stuff or whatever, and you fail because you're doing too much in terms of eating too little. So yeah, what are some maybe principles to once again, I'm using that word again, optimize the weight loss journey, and not only optimize it, but make it more practical. Make it more real. Like it's tough to just eat broccoli and chicken breast for every meal. But I feel like people don't understand that you don't have to do that. Like you don't have to kill yourself 100%. To really lose weight. You just have to get a couple of habits right, and so go ahead and give us a little bit of insight into that.
No man, glad you asked this, because I guess it is 100% common thing, especially bunties, that struggle with this. So I've changed my mind on this, and several times, like I go, okay, you gotta do a low calorie thing, you gotta be a deficit, you gotta walk more, whatever. But conclusion wise, what I've come up with for now, probably change in the future again, is someone first has to be prepared to lose that weight.
Okay.
Mentally and physically. No one should just start, in my opinion, just lose fat. They shouldn't just go on that weight loss journey. Because most people, what happens is they lose that weight and then just rebound back. Usually more, right?
Yeah.
So your goal should be not weight loss. Your goal should be like weight loss, but keep the weight off.
And lifestyle change is what you're getting at.
Exactly, right? So you want to keep the weight off.
Yeah. You kind of got to be real with yourself that, hey, if I want to lose weight and also maintain a healthy weight for life, my life has to change. My lifestyle has to change. Lifestyle, man. You can't be binge drinking every weekend anymore. You can't be... And
you might stop for 3 months for the transformation.
Yeah.
But it's going to come back even harder.
Pick it right back up,
because you're going to be craving it for so long, right?
Yeah.
So again, you have to be prepared to lose that fat. And like, that's usually like the whole idea of trying to get jacked too. It's like, make sure it's like you're always trying to get jacked your entire life, right? It's not just that quick transformation thing. And from a business standpoint, like, it's initially not the best approach, because most people are attracted to the quick transformations. But my whole concept right away in the consultation and stuff is too, it's like, hey bro, like, I know you want this. I can't provide you that in 3 to 6 months, because I want to make sure you keep it off.
A long-term lifestyle.
And you learn something out of this, right? So you make it into a lifestyle. So that's the first concept.
Asad Musel, I would say. So a lifestyle,
that's it, right?
Yeah.
So like, first is that, like, be prepared mentally, be ready for fat loss and weight loss, especially females, right? Like, I find they struggle quite a bit with this, where it's like, oh man, I'm too fat, like I want to lose this fat quickly, so they're eating like one meal a day, just a Caesar salad every day, right? It's like, and not training because they think they'll get muscles with no food in their bodies, right? So I think a lot of it is a mindset thing. Once the mindset improves, you can literally do anything you want in life. So not even weight loss here, but anything in life, right? So I think that's the first step. It's like, okay, what steps do I need to take, actionable steps, to start this journey of creating a better lifestyle that will eventually get me to my goal of my weight loss. And what happened in that process is like, you're like, oh shit, I already started looking different now, even though our weight's not going down. This whole concept of body recomposition, right? So your body starts to look different.
So don't just stare at the scale.
Stare at the scale, yeah. And I'm a big tracker. I track everything, bro. Like, I track my hunger, I track my stress, I track my mood, I track my energy. I track fucking too much shit, right? But that's for me, like, I'm a type A person. I love tracking, right? I get excited about it, right? I'm like, oh shit, the weight went up yesterday. Oh shit, I had chili chicken, it's too much sodium. Whatever. I know
it might just be some water weight that you're holding on
exactly to. Right? So okay, I'll try to keep it more concise though. But weight loss, right? So number one thing, create a lifestyle. Like, start with reducing your cortisol. In terms of, okay, go for more walks, get your sunlight in, start getting more veggies and fruits and protein in, right? Things like that initially make that lifestyle change.
Put the little tweaks,
put good things in your head, right? Listen to podcasts, read some books. Slowly your thought pattern starts to change. Start talking more to people.
Drop the social media a little bit, because social media just fucks with us, especially when you're talking about women again. Like, that does happen. I talk to my girlfriend all the time too, and like, women have this thing where like sometimes they'll look at themselves and be like, fuck, I'm too fat right now, whatever, and they'll start losing weight, and they're like, oh fuck, like I don't have an ass anymore, or like, you know what I mean, I'm getting too skinny.
100%.
And it's like, you can't get in, you gotta drop all that shit and make the lifestyle change initially, and then go ahead. And
while you're making that lifestyle change, don't get me wrong, like, still get the calories and all that stuff going on the side, but don't make it your primary goal as a fat loss. Think about it right now as like a phase where you're trying to change your lifestyle,
your habits,
start lifting weights, make sure you track, right? So all the guys that come on, it's like, make sure you're tracking your weights in the gym. In the gym, always make your focus getting jacked. putting on muscle, right?
Adding reps or adding weights.
Adding weight, progressive overload, like making sure you're constantly progressing in the gym while you're making those lifestyle changes, eating a little more protein, veggies, fruits, getting your sunlight, getting your walk in. And then at this point, you're like, oh shit, bro, I'm trying to look different. Like, I'm starting to, like, you know, change a little bit. I'm starting to get better confidence. People are trying to compliment me. It's like, oh wow, I didn't even start losing. I don't even think about weight loss yet.
Yeah, you didn't start the actual weight loss tracking or anything yet, like that yet. Yeah.
And then you realize, like, oh wow, it's actually much.
You feel good about yourself. Yeah.
And
you want to add more habits, change more things.
Exactly, right? And then you're like, oh shit, my relationship's getting better. My business is getting better. Like, what is going on here, right? Like, it's everything is connected.
It's a domino effect, like you keep saying. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, then, and that's something people don't want to hear initially, because like, I just want to lose this fat, bro. Like, I just went through a crazy year. COVID happened. I just want to lose this dead right here, bro. That's probably the most conversations I've had this year, right? It's like, or last year. So I just want to lose this right here. But then me going into this topic, it's like people are like, oh man, that makes so much sense, because like I've done like this 30-day reset thing, I've done this transformation thing, but then my weight just bounces back, and like it's not as practical, right?
It's not sustainable.
And then 6 months down the line working, they're like, oh wow, bro, like it's crazy that like now I feel like I haven't even tried anything. I haven't even tried losing fat, like, but I'm looking so much different. Right? Because I started making those lifestyle changes, and then now like once they're prepared mentally, to lose that weight, so okay, now, you know, let's go into that deficit.
Now it's time to dial in, right?
Now dial in. And like I always say, like a lot of people, I think there's a whole movement right now, right? It's like intuitive eating, or I think it was last year more, or years before that. Eat with your intuition, you know, like make sure, you know, you pick good foods, whole foods. But like you were mentioning before, like you can just have too much olive oil. Badam, almonds, like in our diets, parents are always like, yo, badam healthy. Just a handful, just 500 calories.
You know
that's it, right? So it's like,
which is good, but like
but if you actually eat 5,
not like a handful or like a couple handfuls, or
like I have a couple of med students, they're like, bro, like I just grab a full handful 3 times when I come downstairs. You know, 1 2 1 2, it's like 1500 calories in badam, bro.
They don't even know. And like you were just talking about, okay, now is when we get into the deficit and actually tracking. That's what I was, you know, my dad was talking to me, and he's like, you know, I train and stuff, but I want to get rid of this like gut, and I want to, you know, decrease in some fat and stuff. Like, what do? I'm like, first of all, like, you have to realize there's certain, like you said, lifestyle changes you need to make. But I told him, like, you have to track in calories, and you have to be in a deficit in order to lose any type of weight. You know, just exercise alone isn't gonna make you lose. It's just like basic, like energy in versus energy out 100%. Kind of thing, right? And I'm like, you know, I see you, Dad, like when you go into the kitchen, like you'll grab a handful of this or a handful of that and just be munching on it. I'm like, you don't understand how many calories that truly has in it. I'm like, 100%. I know in your mind you think, oh, I eat relatively healthy and shit.
Clean
like
foods. Once
you start tracking that stuff, you're gonna be like, damn, I only have like 200 calories left for the day. And that's exactly what happened. I set him up on his MyFitnessPal and stuff, and I inputted like, you know, how many calories he should be eating for his, you know, age and height and weight and stuff, and put him in like a 200-300 calorie deficit. And yesterday I think he had like 400 calories left, and we made like pizza or something for dinner. My mom made pizza, and he's like, okay, I'll have like 2 slices max, so that's it. I'm like, now you're realizing that those 3 pieces of butterfee you ate after lunch added up, and he put that shit in there, and he's like, damn, I didn't realize 3 pieces of butterfee,
so small, right?
He's like, had that many calories. I'm like, man, when you start tracking, that's why I like that you put it last, you know what I mean? 100%. That first be ready to make those lifestyle changes, you know, 100%. Mentally and physically, and then get into once you already feel good about yourself a little bit, get into actually tracking. But okay, so let's get into tracking and calorie deficits and stuff like that.
And then like tracking wise too, it's not as hard as people make it out to be. It's like, oh my god, like especially I want to track everything, bro. It's like, yo, almost 5-6 days a week you're doing the same shit, like you're not eating that much different. And especially like if you're pretty structured routine, and like you kind of like, even if you like different stuff, like I'll be switching rice for potatoes, or like little things like that. Once you track it once in your thing, it's already there. Now you can just keep copying it, and it's pretty simple in MyFitnessPal, right?
It gets easier and easier,
and like it gives you so much more like lifestyle options and flexibility, man. Like I don't mean, you know, I think the whole approach people, they, if it fits your calories, eat it, like cookies, whatever, pancakes, right? So it's like, that's an approach where I don't think it's too sustainable, because I don't think every calorie is the same.
Yeah.
You're not getting the same nutrients.
You're not getting the same type of energy and nourishment from that type of food. Like, I get it. If it fits your macros, technically works. And it's easier because, like, you're able to eat more things you like. I
don't know the studies out here for this, but, like, I can 100%, like, not 100%, but I'm pretty sure if somebody's eating, like, the shitty foods and they're in that deficit, they probably won't look like how they want to look like.
Or they at least wouldn't feel as good.
Yeah. And in that deficit, they won't feel that good. And their gym is going to go to shit. Performance is going to go to shit. Right? There's this thermogenesis and, like, how your body processes certain processed calories versus whole food calories. That's, like, whole
another conversation.
Yeah. But, yeah, so start tracking stuff, and then it'll give you flexibility. It's like, oh, wow, okay, today I have this New Year's party, right? Okay, so all day, all I'm going to do is have more higher protein, veggies and fruits. I'm going to save my carbs and fats for the night.
Because you know you're going to be going out and it's going to be more carb heavy, fat heavy foods, right?
Yeah. So, like, now it's like you can sustain that lifestyle. Now, say you do that tracking for 4 or 5 years. It's like now you have some sort of intuition. I've been tracking for like 7, 8 years. I just like tracking still. Yeah. It gives me so much more discipline, so much more freedom, right? Like, it's like I know exactly what's going to happen. And this is a sick analogy I constantly use, and it helps me with accounting as well. It's like we track our finances. Hopefully we track our finances, expenses, income, right? Yeah. So you know how much your budget is that you can spend. Yeah. Same thing with calories, right? It's like, if you're tracking your finances,
it's a type of a budget,
and that's your bank. You have an internal bank account, which is almost more important, right? Where you're inputting, outputting, and what's your budget? Yeah. Right. So once you start thinking in that sense, it's like, people go over budget way too much or under budget way too much, right? Under budget sounds kind of nice for most people, but yeah, in this context, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like you want to make sure you're within that budget, right?
So your budget is your macros, basically.
Exactly.
Your calories, proteins, fats, and carbs for the day.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. And, like, obviously it depends on the individual how you track it. There's so many calculators out there. So I tell people, like, don't overcomplicate this concept. Calculate your calories, initial calories. Okay. Track your calories and track your weight alongside, and keep that whenever you track your weight consistent. Like, if it's in the morning, if it's after washroom, before washroom, just keep the variable as consistent as possible. Yeah. So the number is consistent, and then based on your weekly averages, because day to day is gonna fluctuate, based on if you had water, slept less, whatever. Weekly averages. Say your body weight starts to go down, like, a pound or 1.5 pounds a week. Okay, now you found, like, your caloric deficit, right? But say, like, your weight's staying the same for 2 weeks in a row. It's like, okay, maybe you're at maintenance. Okay. You can drop 200-300, see what happens. Okay. And then track your weight again, right?
And now it's really easy to find. You can search or Google a calorie calculator, right? Bro. Input your age, your weight, and your height.
100%.
Get your maintenance calories from there.
100%.
And then be in a couple 100-calorie deficit. Yeah, right? Yeah. And see how that works for you for a couple of weeks. 100%. If you're losing a couple of pounds, obviously not a couple of pounds a week. That's a lot. Yeah. Maybe like a pound. Yeah, actually, a pound or two a week.
0.5 to 1.5 to 2. Yeah. Okay. Depends on how much fat you have.
Yeah. So, and then do that for a bit, and then once your weight loss starts to steady again, maybe it's time to drop another little bit of calories. And
I usually like cycling it too, just make sure your metabolism, hormones, all that stays kind of stable. Okay. So like 12 to 16 weeks at a time. Okay. So like say you do a 12-week deficit, your weight's constantly dropping for those 12 weeks. Wicked. I would take like a 4 to 6 week break. I would up your calories to maintenance. Okay. And just, maybe in your gym too, maybe up the volume a little bit or drop the volume, like almost let your body recover. Okay. Because understanding a deficit of calories is also a stress on the body. Yeah. Right? It also increases your stress time.
It does affect your hormone. I noticed that, like, when, you're in too much of a calorie deficit. Yeah. Huge impact on hormone and mood and stuff as well. Like, you want to feel good too, right? You want to feel good, yeah. That's the purpose of this whole thing about trying to get jacked and shit. You want to feel good, look good, so that makes sense.
That's why, like, I've taken more even approach of, instead of like cutting, bulking, more like an approach of body recomp all the time, right? So almost stay within maintenance calories all year long. That makes sense. Just a little bit higher protein. So a little higher protein allows you to eat still a good amount of food, but the protein helps you with recovery, muscle breakdown, and your body actually burns more calories breaking down that protein. So I don't know what the exact ratio is like, but like 30% of the calories consumed by protein is used to burn that protein. So 100 calories of protein, 30 of those calories are actually used to digest that protein. Okay. So net calories equals 70. Oh, okay. Compared to carbs, right? It's like I think 5 to 15%, depending on the carb, like complex or simple.
I don't know that. Okay.
So like, 100 calories of carbs might be actually 90 net compared to 70 net protein. So you give me the same calorie count, but now your protein's higher, but you're actually technically burning a little bit more calories. And your weight kind of stays the same, but your body starts to look different.
Okay. Because you're also, working out along with it, and you're eating high protein.
Exactly.
Stuff like you're eating more nutritious food and stuff like that.
And your sleep is kind of, focusing on sleep, walking, sunlight.
That sounds like it makes more sense for someone like me. That's someone, I've experienced in the gym. I'm not looking to drastically lose any weight or anything. I'm pretty happy with my leanness. I don't really want a ripped 6-pack abs. Like a couple of abs will be great. You know what I mean? Overall, I want to be strong. I want to be, have good ability for a physical sport, be kind of sporty and stuff, be able to move and be healthy. So it makes sense to kind of be in like that maintenance and that recomp phase always.
And it gives you such a good foundation that if you do want to do a quick little cut for a vacation, you're like already set. You have the good mindset. You have
a pretty good weight already.
You just cut down quickly for 4 weeks. Do like an aggressive cut. Maybe go from 2,900 maintenance to like 2,100. That'd be a hard thing, but 4 weeks, it's not gonna have too many negative effects. You're like, oh shit, I look pretty lean. Bounce back and fill out a little bit, but it just gives you more like flexibility overall, right? So.
Okay, cool. I think we tackled some good points there. And especially with losing weight and counting and tracking calories.
Make it a lifestyle, basically.
Make it a lifestyle, basically.
Make it a lifestyle.
Don't
think long term, right?
Exactly. Okay, one thing. Are we going? You need to.
I just have a call at 4.
Okay.
Quick call at 4.
Okay, cool. I think we should be good to wrap up by 4, and you could take the call here, right?
Yeah, I could take it. Yes,
cool. One thing I want to talk to you about was intermittent fasting for cool. Weight loss and fitness. What are your thoughts on intermittent fasting? I personally love intermittent fasting. I think it makes especially when it comes to weight loss, and you only have a certain amount of calories you can eat. A lot of the times when you're eating small meals throughout the day, you end up being feeling a little bit not as sluggish, satiated and kind of sluggish all the time. And I just find it easier to just do intermittent fasting and then have like 2 massive meals and 1 like protein shake, and I'm hitting all my kind of calories and macros for that 100%. Day, and I'm able to have like nice big satiating meals that I'm like, oh I actually ate, it feels like I actually ate something, and you feel good. So intermittent fasting, what are your thoughts on that? Opinions?
So I think it's great. I think it's cool. Like I think I'm taking courses to read books, caught podcasts, and like fasting is something we should be doing more often. Just to give the body a little break from constant digestion. True. So like even just like not as extreme of intermittent fasting of like 16-hour windows, things like that, like a quick 10 to 12 hour window every day. Like I try to stop eating at like 6:30. Okay. And the next day my first meal is usually like 7:38. Okay. So I do like a 12-13 hour pretty much every single day. Yeah. Right. And it's not really, I guess kind of is intermittent fasting. Yeah. But that gives your body enough to rest and digest. Yeah. So I do think it has good benefits. And the second thing is like convenience factor, right? Yeah. Like a lot of people like struggle with like, okay, meal prepping, fuck man, 4, 5, 6 meals. Yeah. But then again, that kind of correlates with the goals, right? If the goal is, I just want to get jacked, bro, right? I want to get bigger. Yeah. So you're going to have a little more frequency of that protein synthesis, constant meals, right? Because being in the fasted state is catabolic. You're not, you want to make sure you as...
you won't be gaining huge amounts of weight.
You're not gaining muscle in that period you're fasting. Yeah. You want to stay in an as anabolic state as possible.
If you're trying to get big.
You're trying to get big, right? You want a constant hit of that protein, right? So it's like for specific goal related stuff, you might have to eat a bit more and more frequently, but health wise and lifestyle wise, I think it's great. And I think it relates to that question you asked on my rest days. On my rest days, I actually kind of do a longer fast. Like I skip that pre-workout meal in the mornings because obviously I'm not working out. You're not going to the gym yet. So I skip that meal and I combine like the initial meal and the second meal after workouts at like 9-10 a.m. So usually I eat at 8 a.m. So now and then on the off days technically do like a 14-15 hour fast. Okay. With like a cardio session, right? And I find that just gives my mentally more clarity. There's studies around it too, like cognitive function improves. Yeah. Brain health.
brain fog clears a little bit because you're not constantly eating all day.
Your skin health improves.
It's
weird stuff, man.
Biggest thing is your digestive system gets a little bit of a break. I feel like you're able to at least focus the first half of your day on non-food related things, and maybe
100%.
just work or school or whatever it may be that you want to kind of focus on that first half of the day. I definitely noticed that. Like that's the biggest
it's
kind of
nice.
benefit for intermittent fasting.
Alertness.
Alertness. I also feel like if we're I always look back at like our ancestors. Like I don't think our ancestors were kind of eating all day. You know what I mean? 100%. I think they were fasting more
100%.
And kind of giving their internal digestive system kind of a break, which I think especially me personally, like I feel like when I started intermittent fasting, my digestion got better and stuff too, and overall gut health feels like it has improved. I never did any like tests on it or anything like that, but if we're just going on feeling, I feel like it definitely made a massive difference.
This goes to like another concept when you talk about ancestors, right? Like it becomes into like seasonal stuff too. Like in the winter time specifically, we're supposed to hibernate, right? So we're supposed to eat in a lesser window and supposed to sleep longer periods of time.
Okay, right?
That
makes sense.
Right, so like 4 or 5 p.m. it starts getting dark. You're not gonna go out to hunt, right? As an ancestor, so you're done for the day eating, and you're gonna sleep longer periods of time.
And also I feel like I think Andrew Huberman said this in one of his podcasts too. It's like 2 hours before you plan on going to sleep, you shouldn't be eating anything in that window. Like you should stop eating 2 hours before you plan to go to sleep, so that digestion process and stuff isn't interfering with your quality of sleep either.
100%.
And that makes a difference there too. You get better quality of sleep. Better rest and recovery at the end of the day. If you're eating until the exact moment you go 100%. To sleep, and I'm eating some chips, munching on whatever.
Confused,
your brain's confused. Like, are you going to sleep? Are you still eating? Am I supposed to be digesting food? Am I supposed to be getting ready for bed? Like, what am I doing here?
There's all this like light already, and now you're eating, and now you're in your bed eating. Right. So that's the environment thing kicks in. Your brain associates like, is this your dinner place or what is it? Right. So.
Okay. Cool. Okay. Another thing I want to talk about was supplementation.
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of people, especially younger people.
We're young too, bro.
Well, we're pretty young too. I'm not gonna lie, we're pretty young. I'm always I forget sometimes. I'm 28. Holy shit! Like I don't feel like an adult. Definitely, I'm too dumb to be an adult. Sometimes I think to myself. But supplementation. So a lot of times people think that you can supplement a shitty diet or whatever with supplements, and before they've even made these lifestyle changes that we talk about that we've talked about today, they start looking at whey protein. Obviously I don't even consider that a supplement because whey protein is like a good meal replacement at the end of the day, a good way to hit your protein goals for the day, and just add it to your diet. For sure. It's not going to make you blow up or get jacked or anything overnight. It's just it'll help you hit your protein for the day, right?
Even though parents think it's steroids.
Parents, I would like if it worked like steroids, bro, that's amazing, bro. Like that's a revolution in the fitness industry or something. But trust me, it does not work like steroids, bro.
I've been trying for years.
I wish it worked like steroids, but no, it doesn't. But other supplementation and stuff like creatine, there's multivitamins, pre-workouts, all these different things. What supplements do you think are essential? People should take, or and what are just like extras, and just like if you have specific goals, you should maybe add them into your repertoire.
Okay, I think you kind of answered this a little bit too, where like. If your diet and everything is lifestyle is not good, you're not going to supplement anything to it, right? It's supplement for a reason. Like the word supplement means supplementing your normal life,
normal nutrition,
with like eating and stuff. So if all that's taken care of, number one I actually switched recently to is fish oil.
Okay.
I made fish oil a really, really big priority for most people, like online, in person.
Okay. To get your omega-3s, right?
Omega-3s, Omega-3s, just because most of us don't eat enough omega-3s. Fish, we don't barely eat fish. I know hemp parts and like algae has omega-3s in it. Okay. But most of us don't eat that stuff.
Especially, I think if you're vegetarian and vegan, it's even harder to get your omega-3s from there, right?
Like walnuts, fish oil, eggs, avocado, they have a little bit more omega-3s, but still not as much as we need. Okay. I know Dr. Heyman.
Dr. Heyman.
or
I feel like I've heard that name.
Huberman probably talks about this too.
Probably.
Fish oil.
Yeah.
It's associated with so much, man.
Yeah.
Associated with like improving depression, anxiety,
Cognitive health
function.
too, right? Okay.
Yeah, joint health, bone health.
Okay.
There's so many benefits of fish oil.
Mm-hmm.
Even Dr. Sean Stevenson, this guy's another. He has a podcast called the Model Health Show.
Okay.
Right. So he talks a lot about make sure you have fish oil as well. Fish oil would be number one if everything else is taken care of. But even if things are not caring of, fish oil would be like basically a food. Like you're talking about whey protein.
Yeah.
I think fish oil should be just like a normal food you're already having.
Okay. So number one on the list is add a fish oil supplement to your.
Yeah.
Or how about if you're a vegan or vegetarian? There's probably
algae oil.
Algae oil. Okay.
Algae oil is pretty good.
And so, like you said, it helps with all those numerous benefits in the body. So that's number one supplement you should be incorporating into your supplement repertoire.
Based on what I know so far, yeah.
Okay.
After that, like I think it kind of gets diluted a little bit.
It depends, I guess, on your goals, right?
Goals,
after that.
yeah. Like I guess, like you already mentioned whey protein. Creatine is a nice one if your main goal is just getting jacked, putting on muscle.
Creatine works, because at the end of the day, it's just filling your muscles with water, right?
Yeah. And it targets the energy system in our body. So creatine phosphate is an energy system in our body. Their whole marketing scheme is 1 extra rep in the gym.
1 RM, yeah.
Right?
I remember the product back in the day.
So their whole because your energy system is getting a little boost.
Okay.
To give you that 1 extra rep in the gym.
Yeah.
Okay, so like it's technically like red meats have it.
Yeah.
But we just don't eat enough red meats, right? So again, I think this relates in like that whey protein category and fish oil. We're technically supposed to get it from foods.
Yeah.
We're just not, but then
not enough, yeah.
You can get
if your main goal is to gain weight, gain muscle.
Yeah.
Creatine is a great one.
Yeah, and I think a lot of misconception with it, like if you load it, if you don't load it, do you cycle off or cycle on it?
Yeah.
Just keep it simple, 5 grams every single day.
Yeah. I remember that back in high school and stuff, as would be in the whole like, you have to do a loading phase and then whatever. Nah, just do 5 milligrams a day. 5 grams or 5 milligrams?
5 grams.
Whatever it says on the back of the bottle, whatever the one scoop is, right? Every day, and you should be good.
You should be good.
Yeah.
And then you can get into like vitamin D and like multivitamin, zinc, magnesium. So vitamin D, I think especially like wintertime in Canada, even in the skin color, like darker you are, brown, like you need a little more vitamin D, just because you're just harder to produce.
Yeah, I have my vitamin D sitting right there actually. I make sure that I take that shit.
Yeah, vitamin D is clutch. Related to like so again, mood, cognitive function, depression, anxiety, all that stuff.
Okay.
I'm sure Dr. Newman probably talks about that stuff too. Right? So vitamin D is up there, and then I would say like minerals wise, electrolytes is something where I didn't know for a long time. You know how like we get this thirsty feeling? Yeah. We're like throat is dry.
Yeah.
And like
we keep that right now probably just because we've been talking about it for so long.
Yeah, we're talking a lot. But like if we're not, we constantly keep drinking water.
Yeah.
And like the thirst still doesn't go away. Like the throat still stays dry. Usually that's a sign that we're missing some minerals in our body. So like electrolytes have like zinc, magnesium, calcium, potassium. Okay. Right? Those are things that are minerals that help retain the water that we drink, and then it helps you digest and put that water in places it needs, right? It distributes the nutrients much better. Okay. So what's happening when the mouth is constantly dry? We don't have enough minerals, so the water is not being distributed where it needs to be distributed.
Interesting. I don't even know that.
And like, especially with caffeine, it dilutes it even more, right? I get even more dehydrated. Yeah. So like sometimes I'll be personal training for like 6-7 hours in a row, chuck 3 coffees, forget about water. I just feel dehydrated. I look like I lost like 10 pounds. And look really lean. Yeah. Because I'm just dehydrated, but I feel like shit, right? And people actually do that for competitions. That's another topic. But so electrolytes would be something. But fish oil, vitamin D, electrolytes, creatine, and like magnesium for sleeping. Most people can benefit from that. But magnesium is an electrolyte. It's a mineral. Okay. Most people are missing, right? Okay. There's like 10 to 15 different types of magnesiums. Okay. It's insane how many there are, but.
Okay. So basically, those are the basic supplements.
And then caffeine, I guess.
Caffeine caffeine. I guess within a certain range. We already talked about. I think make sure you're not having caffeine too late in the day that it's disrupting your sleep or anything. But a normal amount in the morning. Also, Dr. Huberman talks about waiting 2 hours after you wake up to have coffee.
That's the part I'm struggling at.
I finally got over that. Yeah, like I make sure I wait now before I get my caffeine, but that took me a while. Like first thing I used to do, head downstairs, boil my water, make my coffee.
Coffee and 10 pages reading in the morning. That's like
routine. Yeah, but as long as it's not disrupting your sleep, I don't think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But he does usually say that
Probably not optimal.
it's not optimal, exactly, as we've been saying the entire time. But yeah, okay, cool, good to know. And then all the other supplements gimmicks is like, based on, I guess, your goals and stuff, what you need. But these are kind of the supplements
that's what I would say. Like,
Yeah.
obviously me accounting background wise, I didn't take any science courses, nothing. Like, my experience is straight, like you were saying, for the software. Like, you took courses online.
Mm-hmm.
All my knowledge is through courses and experience, right?
And personal experience.
Experience, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, and I get that is valuable 100%. It's not like it's not, but I'm not talking about exact studies.
Yeah.
But if someone wanted to look at a book for supplements,
Mm-hmm.
and like there's something called the RPE diet book by Dr. Mike Israel.
Okay.
That's where I like they drop a lot of knowledge on these supplements.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And like it gives a whole guideline of how to calculate your macros, how to track your macros,
Yeah.
and how to actually like,
So I don't remember where we left off.
nutrition
Nutrition stuff, right? We were talking about supplements.
supplements. Yeah,
Yeah,
we ended
okay.
up supplements.
So another thing is, there's a lot of what I'd call snake oil salesmen in the industry.
sure.
You know what I mean? A lot of supplement pushers and people just trying to make a buck.
For sure.
It was crazy to see so many people get into this Liver King Fadhu, and then his whole thing came out that like, he's on steroids. That's why he looks like that, bro. Yeah, like this whole thing came out where like he's trying to preach these ancestral tenets and stuff or whatever. Like, I never followed him at all because from the get go, looking at the guy is like, he's juiced to the gills, like different type of juice. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he's trying to tell people that you need to eat liver and you need to do these things, and like you'll get jacked and like follow these tenets and stuff. I get where he's coming from. You should be living a more natural lifestyle. We should try to get away from as much artificial stimuli as much as possible. But a lot of the times what people don't realize is the answer isn't some secret. It's
there's
not
no secret.
There's no secret. It's just building better habits.
It sells though, right?
It sells though.
The shortcuts and secrets.
The shortcuts and secrets sells. And I remember in high school, especially when first getting into
for sure
the gym, getting into fitness, you're looking for those like shortcuts.
100%,
like,
bro.
how can I, get jacked quickly? What supplements can I take? Whatever can I to get to my from point A to point B as fast as possible. And
honestly, bro, that's the whole premise of like even when I started like personal training, coaching, I'm like, I used to be that kid. That's like try to do things fast, and after 10-12 years realize it takes a long time, right? So if you can build foundations right away, whoever new comes into the gym, and we can already set their mindset, that'll expedite their process, because they're not going to go through this up down peaks and valleys approach. They just understand it's a long process and trust it and turn into a lifestyle 5 years earlier than you can. Because people 5-6 years down, like, oh man, it's a lifestyle. Okay. So that's the whole business thing too. It's like, make it into a lifestyle.
Because getting stuck in those gimmicks, it just becomes a yo-yo effect.
Yeah, man. It's a yo-yo thing.
You don't actually make consistent gains because you're finding the next hack or the next 100%, shortcut 100%. And jumping from thing to thing. You're not really developing that consistency through your diet, through your exercise and stuff.
Bro, even like the Liver King guy, like if like people actually technically follow his tenets, like the 9 tenets, if you just follow it strictly for 2-3 years, you'd be like, oh wow, I transformed. Because you're finally doing something consistent, right? So his whole idea was actually pretty smart marketing, right? But it's just like the perception you can look like that based on what he does. That's the part. It's like, come on, man. It's like
bullshit.
That's the part. It's like, okay, like the tendency he talks about is really important, man. He's like, a lot of men are going through depression, low testosterone, anxiety, no confidence. All that shit is true, right? But like the part that you can look like that based on whatever he said, it's like, come on, man.
It's bullshit.
So, good for him for like smart marketing
and making his money and stuff.
A lot of the other stuff he said was good, but it's like that one thing.
And like you don't need to eat some weird ass shit that like it's just simple. We already talked about it. Simple nutrition, foundational 100%. Habits, nutrition wise and physical exercise wise, and that'll go a long way, a lot further. It'll take you a lot further
100%.
than trying to find these like hacks and tricks. whether it's something even like intermittent fasting or something like it's just a tool at the end of the day
100%
that'll help you along in your journey. But at the end of the day, you need to stay consistent to yourself, right? So I think
and like, and honestly, like all these things we talked about, like it's all consistency and all tools, right? And like whatever he talks about, like eating liver, heart, all that stuff, that comes to the concept of optimization. Because they technically, those like chicken for example, it's probably the most least nutritious meat out there. All it has is protein, nothing else. Right? But like steak, beef, red meats, they have a little bit more salmon,
especially
way more
omega-3
nutrients than
fatty
chicken.
acids and stuff.
And like liver and like organ meats, their nutrient profile is even more. So like technically optimization wise, you're getting a little more nutrients in that sense. But again, I don't think people do the initial 95% of the stuff you can do, or even 99% of the things you can do. And that 1% is like, okay, like maybe you start.
It'll just tip the scale a little bit further in your favor.
And that's where all the biohacking shit kicks in, right? Okay, sauna, cold showers, eating liver, eating heart, whatever, like little things. And obviously we all should chase progress, but we try to do the other shit too quick, and we miss all the foundational stuff. We miss the foundation.
So, it all goes into supplementation. I feel like all these extra 100%. Things are like, you can consider them supplements. Like once you have your, I guess, base level of nutrition and physical activity in place, then try. I think the key word of this podcast is optimization. Then you start optimizing things by taking making better and better nutrition choices in terms of the types of meats you can eat, or adding in different types of foods that'll give you one nutritional value over another, stuff like that.
100%.
100%. So when it comes to snake oil salesmen and like scams of the industry, anybody trying to sell you, I guess, some shortcut is bullshit. Get your foundational stuff as 100%. Early as possible on point, and then start looking into like extra hacks, biohacking and stuff like that. And make those tweaks to make you even better, but foundational stuff first.
100%.
Get your macros right, get your calories right, get your walks in, get that sunlight, and
sleep your priority.
Sleep has to be your priority. Caffeine intake as well.
100%.
A lot of us don't think about that. A lot of people, like you said, do say, I can drink a cup of coffee before bed and knock out no problem. Yeah, you probably can. But you're gonna notice a difference later on, probably a couple years 100%. Down the line, because the fact that you've been getting a less quality of rest and recovery and sleep will compound, and then 3-4 years down the line
100%
you'll notice a difference in your body.
100%.
Let's talk a little bit about mental health. What in your opinion, or what are some mental health tips that you think, or how we've already talked about getting in your daily walks. That is a huge benefit to people's mental health if they're getting out there, especially early in the morning. Spend time in nature. Get that natural sunlight to set your circadian rhythm correctly. Set the release of hormones in your body correctly by getting out there early. What are some other kind of mental health kind of exercises or tips that you think people should implement more of into their daily life?
So again, this is a topic where it can go south and up and down pretty quick. Depends on, all based on opinion, experience, right? I think one of the biggest things, once we're talking about all this like optimization, walking, lifestyle, nutrition, and like being dialed in with your sleep, dialed in here, dialed in your work, whatever, I think we miss out on a big thing, which is social connection. Like having making sure having relationships, spending time with your boys, friends, having your alone time, making sure you're still talking to your mom and dad. Because sometimes we get so locked in. Like I know I go through this where like I'm so scheduled, so routine oriented, so like go, and like even though I preach all this stuff, I'm missing the big picture where like what matters is like spending time with people you love, right? So like I constantly miss that part constantly, and that's probably one of the biggest pieces where like I don't spend enough time in, right? And like recently I've tried more, like went to New York last week with the boys and like things like that, where like I realized I'm like, yo man, we literally do all this shit so we can spend time with other people, and we forget to spend time with other people. So I think like there's also like studies done on blue zones. I don't know if you've heard of blue zones.
No.
There's basically zones in the world where like people live the longest.
Okay,
There's a couple spots in Italy, couple spots in Japan, and one of the most common denominators is lifestyle is more community based.
Okay.
They're in a big community. They walk out the house like, yo, what's good? Like they're waving at each other.
Yeah.
Like during COVID in Italy, you saw like people just like outside on their balconies.
Still, trying to get that connection.
Going. Yeah. So I think connection is such a big thing, and like, because right now, like, everyone's like feeling lonely, or like, shit, man, I don't have a girlfriend, I don't have a boyfriend, or like, I need a partner that's gonna solve everything. It's not gonna be the saving grace, right? You gotta be good with yourself and that kind of stuff. But connection is a big thing. Like, you just go talk to your dad. He doesn't want to talk, but if you talk to him, he'll start talking. Yeah. I tell you 100%, your dad has the sickest stories. If you actually sit down and listen to him. Yeah. Even your mom, sickest stories, right?
Mom, grandma, grandpa.
Yeah. But if you just listen, and they get so excited, it's like, oh, put this talking to me.
He's
like,
sitting down, taking out some time and just talking to me, spending some time with me.
And then there's chemical releases too, so like there's science behind it too, like not oxycontin. Fuck, that's a different one.
But dopamine and stuff.
Yeah, dopamine and like there's some other stuff that gets released, right? Serotonin get improved. There's a bunch of endorphins. That's with cardio, but there's also like connection, human connection. But connection, right? Just connect with more people. And like sometimes we don't have people to connect to, unfortunately, right? We have people that are isolated. So that's where like podcasts, YouTube videos with like different people talking, or like reading books, or social media. Again, it can be really like people can talk shit about it, but it allows you to connect with people, right?
Yeah, even this right here, honestly, this is a connection. Like I've been thinking about doing this podcast for so long now, finally doing it, actually doing it, and I'm sure it's releasing all type of dopamine and stuff like that. I mean, something's happening, and like it's making me feel good that I'm actually sitting down and we're having this conversation, we're connecting 100%. About these mutual topics that we're both into and stuff. It makes a huge difference.
You realize, and like when you connect, you realize everyone's thinking the same thing. They want to connect. If you message your boy, you want to hang out, you'll be like, oh yes, bro, like they want to as well, right? But no one wants to initiate it. You're like, oh, that guy's probably too busy for me. That guy's probably too busy to me. She's probably too busy to me. You know what I'm saying? Like even your parents are like, I didn't come downstairs because I thought you were busy, right? But it's like, yo, everyone's in their head and just looking at the screen, thinking I'm alone. There's so many people around us we want to connect with, right?
Sometimes I feel like when we do get those opportunities of connection, it's in these very like artificial settings, like maybe a party or something, or house party, going out or something like that. But like it could be something as simple as, hey, let's go grab a coffee and go for a walk. We talk about these daily walks. Walks are the best for multiple reasons. 100%, get out there, go for a hike. Tell your boy about some maybe a healthy lifestyle changes you've been making in your life that have helped you. It's a little bit scary at first, you know what I mean? Like telling your boys like, yo, I've been making these like lifestyle changes and like that have improve my mental health, and
or I'm going through stuff in my head, right?
And like
guys, we don't talk about anything, right? Most of our conversation is about girls, food, gym, or like 2K, or like video games, or like you see this post, you see this guy Andrew Tate, like whatever, you just like random topics, right? There's no depth to it, right?
There's nothing,
and there hasn't been for me too, like for a long time, right? So now I finally start to say shit. People are like, oh no, me too, bro. I was thinking the same thing. I've
been thinking the same thing. I've been going through the same shit. And like that sense of community, it makes it almost like easier to get through shit, because like it's not just me going through it.
100%.
So and so person is also going through it. Every other person is also going through the same or similar bullshit.
And it's relative. Like some may be extreme, and like there's a chemical imbalances, whatever. And some people may need to be like supplemented or like a hop on. But generally speaking, I think most of us can benefit just from like connecting more. And then like we already mentioned a lot of lifestyle stuff, right? Walking, sunlight, eating better. Eating also improves so many of the chemicals like dopamine, serotonin, endorphins. Exercise improves so much. So the basics, bro, like the whole conversation leads into we started this with the whole podcast, right? Change the physical stuff and the mental starts to improve. But like connecting, and then I would say the second thing just would be like reading, podcasts, audiobooks, putting good stuff in our head, right? And constantly, not just like once. Like, I learned this. It's like reps in the gym, like I think we were saying at the start.
I feel like these days we're hit with a lot of artificial stimuli, like from our TVs, from from our phones, especially 100%. From the applications, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Like I'm not really on TikTok or anything. But I know the way those algorithms work, it's like that. Absolutely. Those easy dopamines, you know what I mean? Those easy dopamine hits are our biggest enemy right
It's
now.
so easy, man.
I feel like
Yeah.
all the sources, ask yourself if you're whatever you're doing, if it's an easy dopamine hit, if you had to, there's no effort put behind
Yeah.
that source of dopamine, it's bad for you.
Yeah.
It's just like people with porn addictions and stuff like that.
100%,
Like
yeah.
it fucks you up mentally.
For sure,
like
bro.
seriously. And stuff that, like, you know, connecting with people, you know, setting aside time to go and chill with your boys or your family or your friends, whatever, and get out in nature and stuff, that's a little bit more difficult, you know what I mean?
100%.
Like it's
Is it really though? That's the
it's not though. Yeah,
right?
that's another thing. Yeah. It's just become difficult.
Yeah, like
we've made it difficult.
If you again like audit our time,
yeah,
there's probably so much time. Like if you look at our screen times and shit like that, like you can easily.
I could have been using this time to chill downstairs with my grandparents and like
Exactly.
talk to them, have a conversation with them.
100%.
Maybe, you know, spend some time on a walk with them and stuff.
Yeah. And it's easier said, like it is easier but hard at the same time.
Yeah.
It's hard because we've never done it.
Yeah.
But it's easy because it's an easy step to take. Like
Yeah.
me saying this, I even sometimes like I'll be sitting downstairs doing something, but then like dad's just sitting upstairs doing nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I could easily go talk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, like whatever, just chill out downstairs instead, right? I'll talk to him tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow never happens.
Yeah.
So.
And it's sometimes hard because you're like, oh, what if they bring up this or what if they bring up that? It's like, it's okay. Have that tough conversation. You know what I mean? Like, get through it. You'll be a better person for it on the other side.
Even just 5 minutes, you know, like they don't want to talk much. They just want to like know their kid still cares about them and shit. Like,
exactly. No one wants to know what's going on in your life and stuff. You know, like,
exactly.
That's it. And like, you know, they've been on this planet for so much longer than us. There's so much, you know, locked wisdom inside of them that we can learn from ourselves.
Yeah.
So get out there, people. You know, talk to your family, talk to your grandparents,
even talk to your boys,
parents, talk to your boys. Tell them not just those, you know, shallow conversations. You know, have those hard, tough conversations, depth conversations. Like, hey, bro. What's up, man? You know, how's it going? You know, I don't know about you, but I've been having a tough time lately. You know, like it's been fucking crazy. Whatever. Like, open up.
100%.
Open up. You know, you'll feel better for it.
Yeah, and if you're on the other side, just most of these conversations, like I know I suck at this at times when people will be having these conversations. I try to give them a solution right away. It's like, yo, just listen, man. Just listen, right?
Sometimes just listen first.
Like we have 2 ears, one mouth. Usually years more, right? So just listen.
Yeah.
And that can go a long way for somebody, because someone just saying stuff out loud, like, oh shit, that's not even that big of a deal.
Yeah.
So, you know, like,
yeah. Sometimes you just need to be each other's therapists in a way.
100%.
Know what I mean? Like, just need to listen to each other, and that goes a long way. It's huge. Yeah. Last thing I want to talk about is alcohol and drugs.
Yeah. Turn up.
Let's turn up. Let me get the bottle out right now.
Where's the beers and blunts, bro? Yeah.
I know the beers and blunts. Yeah. But so alcohol. I know, you know, we've always heard that, you know, a glass of red wine here and there, you know, is actually good for you, you know, like, or like, you know, have a little bit of this here and there, it's good for you and stuff like that. But recently, what I've learned from, especially listening to more Andrew Huberman, is actually, no, it's far more beneficial for you to not drink at all than to even have maybe a couple of glasses of wine a week or whatever. What do you think about alcohol and when it comes to people's lifestyle, mental health and stuff? Like, do you drink or anything?
Sometimes at like receptions, round receptions. I'll have a couple of drinks. But like I think the whole concept is like, if the thing is controlling you, then it's a bad thing. But if you're in control, like if you choose, it's like, I know 3 weeks in advance when I'll be having that one drink at one night. If you know that, then I don't think it's a terrible thing. But generally speaking, majority of people can benefit from not having alcohol. Because this is basically escaping, right? You're escaping from your real life. And like, you know, maybe start improving your real life so you don't need to escape from it. And that's what drugs are. Like, even caffeine, I guess, but caffeine is a big drug as well. But like, technically, again, it's me being biased and justifying it. But specifically talking about alcohol and drugs, it's escapism, right? So kind of reflect on what are you escaping from. And like anything, you don't want to get off it too quick, because you'll have these crazy withdrawals.
Oh man.
And then
I've been I've been an avid weed smoker for like a while now, for probably like a few years. And in December, so before even the new year, I told myself, all right, yo, I'm done with this shit. Like, I think my relationship with this substance has played its course, and I'm done with it. and it has been the craziest last 1 month basically. Now it's been a full month since I just went thanks man. I went complete cold turkey.
Damn, son.
And oh man, it's been crazy, like vivid ass dreams and shit. And like, you know, trouble, like I don't have a problem falling asleep, but then like staying asleep, like I'll dream and it feels like in the dream I've been gone for like 48 hours, and then I wake up, I look at the clock, only an hour and a half passed by. Like it's been some intense crazy ride, but at the same time it's been like mad fulfilling at the same time. You know what I mean? Like
that's awesome.
Getting regaining control of certain,
bro, that's the biggest
like
thing.
You said, like getting control of your life again, you know, no more escapism and and I don't know, it's just been like such a, like after the first few days it became such an empowering feeling, even though I felt like shit. It became like, yo, fuck, I'm in control of this shit. Like it's not like
you build confidence, right?
It builds mad confidence
100%,
because it's no longer like, oh fuck man, it's a tough day today, I need a joint after that, you know what I mean, or I need a drink after that. Now it's more like, you know, one day in the future, if I feel like doing it, you know what I mean, if I feel like having this thing or whatever, it's because I chose to do it, not because 100%. It had a power over me, or I needed that thing. And so that's the biggest thing. It was like getting sober was like a mad empowering moment.
Bro.
And I don't see myself going back to that, you know, regular habit. Even in terms of this podcast, like I feel like the biggest thing, that was probably a huge thing, being a kind of like a resistance in my way, man. Because like, you know, the workday would end, and then, you know, the time I'm supposed to set aside and spend on my side hustle or my passion has now me smoking up and being like, all right, I'm just gonna chill out, and you know, I'll work on this thing. I deserve to chill out, and you know, I'll just, you know, work on this thing tomorrow, you know. Then you always put off your goals to the next day, you know what I mean? Like it's never like in the 100%. Now, and now it's like, yo, I have more control over my time, and like you know, the brain fog is not there, I'm thinking more clearly and stuff like that. So like it's been huge.
That's awesome, bro. Good for you, man.
One of the things that helped with it was a lot of cold exposure. So I'm a big like Wim Hof guy. Like I love like
breathing too.
I do the breathing too and stuff.
Push-ups with the breathing or no?
I don't do that. I gotta add that. Okay, I gotta add.
I can't even get myself to do it. So uncomfortable, but it's
an uncomfortable feeling. But after you finish like the 3 rounds, you feel amazing. You feel high basically. Like he says it too. He's like, yo, get high on your own supply. You know what I mean? Like that's his like motto or whatever.
100%.
And that was one of the things that helped me a lot. Like I take a couple of cold showers a day, and then do the Wim Hof breathing and stuff. And like it would calm me down, and it would just like bring me back to like baseline and stuff. And then even with the sleep, one of the things that I did was this thing called Yoga Nidra.
I heard of that.
Yeah, you heard that shit?
YouTube, right? You just listen to the sound?
Yeah, you just listen. It's
whole
like
body awareness?
Whole body awareness. You know, you're bringing awareness to each and every individual part of your body, and like
that's awesome.
It's just reconnecting with the fundamental person we are on the inside at the end of the day. 100%. And it's crazy. It helps with sleep, with like rest and recovery. Like there's so many things that like we try to look for outside sources, you know what I mean, to fix in us, when like our bodies have like these things in them that could help us already.
Again, it's like easy stuff, but people don't want to believe it's easy, right? Because
like it takes time to like develop effort. Like it's easier to pop a pill and fall asleep, 100%. You know what I mean, than to like sit with your thoughts that are maybe bugging you from falling asleep and meditate through them, and like, you know what I mean, like it's tough. It's not, it's easy to talk about now, but like it's
because we've been trying for so long, right?
Right. But it's a journey to get there.
100%. And it's a ever-ending journey, right? It's gonna be, we have to keep doing this. Like if we stop doing the Wim Hof or the reading tomorrow, we're gonna go back to our old ways, right? Old
habits and stuff. Definitely.
Same thing, you stop the gym, it's gonna get small, right? So it's like
exactly, you
just gotta keep doing it for life.
You gotta like if you're kind of expecting an easy life, like one day you're gonna get to this point where life is just gonna be chill, bro. It's gonna be easy for me. You know what I mean? Nah, maybe that's true for maybe 1% of people.
And you almost don't want that.
You almost don't want that. It kind of gets boring, doesn't it?
So boring, bro. Like,
so boring. Like
if you're happy or chill all the time, like what do you work towards?
It gets mad boring. Like even if you're like smoking weed all the time and shit, and you're like mad relaxed and chill, you get to a point where you're like, yo, this is boring. You know what I mean? Like, what am I doing with my life? Like it's like you don't have to achieve any lengthy goals or be like an Olympic athlete or like an NFL star or NBA star, but goals like make our world go around. You know what I mean? And like kind of crushing those goals, and the type of dopamine hits we get from and like serotonin hits we get from working hard and accomplishing those lofty goals are so much more worthwhile.
100%. They're long lasting too, right? They're not quick.
Yeah, like you can scroll through Instagram where you can you know, smoke a joint and like you'll be happy for a little while. Like anybody that does these things or partakes in these substances knows what I'm talking about. Even if right now they're like, oh fuck this guy,
bro. Like I post on little social, right? So that's pretty much like me being a weed addict, right? Like constantly looking at likes, constantly looking at comments, constantly looking at, you know, messages. So I just set a limit on Instagram. So I think 90-minute limit, and then like I don't see the messages that pop up. It has to be when I go in Instagram, have to look until
your next limit or whatever is the limit's over until the next day, right?
Or like notifications off on Instagram overall.
I do the same thing. So shut off. I have a window. What is it called? Screen time or whatever.
Screen time window.
So you can shut off by a certain time. I don't get any notifications.
The fact that we have to do that,
it's crazy. It's fucked up. It's fucking crazy, bro.
That should also be take a step back. So the luxury we have, the fucking set a screen time on your phone.
We got to be thankful for these things.
100%.
We also,
but it's all relative, right? We're adapting with the times.
Exactly.
We can't really be like, can't be like, oh, parents had no trouble. But it's a different time.
It's a different time. They don't have these same like kind of obstacles in their way 100%. And stuff. So like it's and like even with my parents, sometimes I gotta tell them too that like, you know, you gotta explain to your parents too that, you know, these things are, certain things are harmful for you, and you should take a step back and stuff. 100%. And like, you know, maybe you feel stressed or anxious because of so and so, and like, you know, this is what I read about. And it goes back to spending time with family again, right? Bro. The things you're learning, the things that, you know, you may have learned from, say, this podcast or another podcast, share with your family and friends. You know, help them out too, and maybe they're going through similar things, or you know, you can help them avoid going through similar things in the future. But all right, man, this has been dope. I think I covered mostly everything that I want to talk about. You know, there's obviously so much you can talk about, bro. Definitely. There's so many, like, you know, different avenues we can go down. You know, I just wanted like an overall kind of discussion, get a general sense of you know basic health and fitness protocols we can all follow, you know, that could help people out of all ages, genders, whatever. And hopefully, you know, people get a kick out of this. Hopefully, you know, I'm hoping you know, more and more people do more research into some of the things, maybe the topics we talked about, and, some of the protocols we talked about, and you know, they're able to help themselves a little bit more. And I'm definitely gonna link your stuff in the bio or whatever of this video that I post, so that people can find you too, and you know, they try to get jacked and shit, and you know, they can hop on the train. But if you want to shout yourself out real quick, you know, tell the people what your Instagram handle is or whatever, and where they can find you.
So my Instagram, I was looking at this like it was a camera.
Like it was a camera,
So now Instagram is Rounit, so ROUNITN. The business page is trying to get jacked, so trying to get _jacked. That's more for online coaching, in-person training, and like there's an app for programs and stuff. Okay, so I don't know you had an app too. So trying to get jacked app. So get jacked up. Okay. So, but it's like through a third party, so it's like you have to subscribe to the whole program. You subscribe to the app, and then you get access to the app instead of downloading it through App Store. So in the future, we'll have our own full app, not third party one. So. But so Rounit, trying to get jacked, and you can use Rounit at all the TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook. Dope. Thanks again for sitting down with me before you dip. Sir. I have this book for you. I think this is gonna become my shtick. Every you know, guest that I have on here, I wanna find a book that I can give them, and they might be able to get some value out of. Hell yeah, bro. Thank you, man. The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Anybody listening that you know, is dealing with their own type of resistance in their life, that feels like there's like you know, more that they could be doing, or that there's something in the back of their heart or mind that's calling to them that they want to work on or cultivate. I think this is a great book that'll help them out. Man. So The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield, check it out. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining me, Rounit. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, bro. It's your first podcast. Good luck with the Modern Meditations. Thanks. Modern. I think that's the name we're gonna go with. I think so. Modern Meditations is what I'll go with. And thank you, man. No problem, man. It was a sick conversation.